Qi Xiao was completely impressed by He Xingjia's shamelessness. She was the one who had stolen the Nirvana pearl, and now she was calling thief, asking them to compensate her with the pearl and the broken shovel? When the demonic beasts heard Yun Chujio mention the pearl, they immediately roared angrily. One of them, a single-horned flaming leopard, threw a broken stone in front of Qi Xiao. Yun Chujio looked at the small round stone on the ground and was stunned for a moment. Then she said loudly, "That's not right. What I threw to you was clearly a bright and colorful pearl. How did it become a broken stone now? You are also considered high-level demonic beasts. How could you do such a shameless thing? Give me back my pearl. Where's my shovel?" The demonic beasts were so angry that they almost vomited blood. It was clearly this broken stone. How could there be a pearl? However, it was true. When the little girl threw it to them, it indeed looked like a pearl, and it could even melt such a thick shovel. It was obviously not an ordinary item, so how did it turn into a broken stone? It was really a ghost. They did not know that He Xingjiu had deliberately wrapped the small stone with the flame produced by the 10,000-year-old fire marrow. It looked like it was flowing with light and vibrant colors. In addition, the eyes of the demonic beasts were red at that time. They would not identify it carefully. They subconsciously thought that it was the Nirvana pearl. There was another important point. No one had seen the Nirvana pearl before, so they naturally took it seriously. He Xingjiu saw that the demonic beasts hadn't moved for a long time, so she immediately snorted coldly, "Forget it. It's my fault for throwing the pearl to you guys. I'm just unlucky. Sigh, I wanted to leave as soon as possible, but there seemed to be a voice calling me. I didn't expect that the phoenix feather would be snatched away by you guys, and the phoenix egg would be eaten by you guys. Doesn't your conscience hurt? Big fatty, let's go. Let's go to the fire pit to take a look. There might be treasures inside." The high-level demon beasts heard Yun Chujio's words and were embarrassed. They made a path for He Xingjiu to ride over on Qi Xiao. He Xingjiu heaved a sigh of relief. No matter what, she had finally escaped from the encirclement. Even if the demon beasts could react, she would still have a chance to escape. Qi Xiao was not that happy. Those idiots might not be able to react in time, but if they reacted in the future, this wretched girl would just leave. Wouldn't she be beaten to death? Yun Chujio rode Qi Xiao to the front of the crown prince and the others. She bared her little white teeth at them and said, "Have you seen my beads and shovel?" The crown prince glared at her fiercely. "Even if there is a nirvana bead, it is not yours. I saw that you have obtained quite a number of high-level herbs. Do you have any purple radish flowers in there? If you do, leave them to me." Yun Chujio was so angry that she almost burst into laughter. What was wrong with this Lung Tianche? Why should she leave her herbs to him? Did he really treat her as a dish? He Xingjiu curled the corners of her lips. How could it be so coincidental that there's not even a single thousand silky purple radish flower? The crown prince could not help but feel a little disappointed. He did not think that Yun Chujio had the guts to lie to him. Princess Shiyu said softly from the side, "Ninth sister, you've just arrived at Towering Sky Continent. How could you possibly know the herbs? Since you don't know them, why did you say that there's not a single thousand silky purple radish flower among the herbs you've obtained? Don't tell me you don't want to give it to His Highness the Crown Prince on purpose?" When the Crown Prince heard Princess Shiyu say this, his expression instantly darkened. That's right, this Yun Chujio didn't know any herb at all. She definitely didn't want to give the herb to him. Crown Prince Lung Tianche stared at Yun Chujio gloomily. "Hand over all the medicinal herbs and I will search for the 1,000 silk purple radish flower myself." Yun Chujio sneered in her heart. She had seen shameless people before, but this was the first time she had seen such a shameless person. She curled the corners of her lips. "Sister Shiyu, I don't know the 1,000 silk purple radish flower, but Big Fatty does. He told me that there is no 1,000 silk purple radish flower among my medicinal herbs. It's a level 52 demon beast. It can't be that it doesn't even know the 1,000 silky purple radish flowers, right?" Qi Xiao fiercely roared at the crown prince and the others, cursing in his heart. Fuck, if it weren't for these people, it wouldn't have fallen into the hands of the smelly girl. These people deserve to die. Qi Xiao's pressure caused the crown prince and the others to involuntarily take a few steps back. Only then did everyone remember that this country bumpkin was no longer the same as before. She had actually contracted with the level 52 Qi Xiao. Although Qi Xiao was not considered an impressive demonic beast in the Towering Sky Continent, it was still more than enough to deal with them. Therefore, everyone felt a little more fearful. The crown prince clenched his fists and said coldly, "Since there is no 1,000 threads purple radish flower, then what about phoenix tail red flame grass? No. Bell orchid kite? No. 1,000 crane flower? No. The crown prince listed more than 10 kinds of herbs in one breath. He Xinjiu only had one answer, and that was no. The crown prince gnashed his teeth and said, "Then what do you have? Whatever herbs you have, I want them. Give them to me." Yun Chujio curled the corners of her lips and took out a bunch of wheat-based herbs from her storage ring. "Your Highness, I only have this kind of herb here. It is said that it is very effective in curing the heart of an emergency. Since you want it, I will give it to you." The crown prince angrily threw the handful of hay grass on the ground. "Yun Chujio, you are courting death. This hay grass is only a yellow-grade herb. How could those high-level demon beasts give you such a worthless thing?" PN0V1 Crown Prince, you are really interesting. If I didn't give it to you, you would be angry. Now that I have given it to you, you are still angry. Those demon beasts gave me this hay grass. Big Fatty, tell him whether it is true or not. Qi Shao roared a few times. This crown prince was simply stupid. He actually dared to go against the master of Divine Phoenix. Wasn't he courting death? The crown prince sneered, "Yun Chujio, do you think that you can do whatever you want with this Qi Shao? Previously we had fewer people, so we couldn't defeat this Qi Shao. Now that there are so many people here, a mere Qi Shao is no match for us." The crown prince then said to the people behind him, "Yun Chujio has offended her superior. Capture her. If she resists, kill her without mercy." The people behind the crown prince looked at each other. Should they attack or not? When the crown prince saw that everyone was hesitating, he immediately flew into a rage. "What? Do you all want to rebel too? If anyone disobeys my orders, they can go out and wipe out their families." Those sons of noble families were instantly frightened. They thought to themselves, "If I die, my fellow Taoist will not die." "Yun Chujio, just admit your bad luck. Who asked you to offend His Highness the Crown Prince?" The fifth prince hurriedly went forward to dissuade him. "Royal brother, ninth miss has just returned to Towering Sky Continent. It's inevitable that she's a little insensible. Please spare her this time." The crown prince glared at the fifth prince viciously. "Fifth brother, don't let me say anything unpleasant. Move aside." The fifth prince clenched his fists. He did not dare to shed all pretenses with the crown prince now. He could only grit his teeth and retreat to the side. It seemed that Yun Chujio's suffering was unavoidable. However, this was also good. In a while he would think of a way to keep her alive. She would definitely be grateful. When that time came, she might even secretly be in love with him. Yun Shilian looked at Princess Shiyu and pleaded, "Sister Shiyu, please help little Jiu plead with the crown prince." Princess Shiyu nodded and said to Yun Chujio, "Sister Jiu, quickly hand over all the herbs and kowtow to the crown prince to make amends. The crown prince might spare you." Yun Chujio looked at Princess Shiyu with ridicule. "Sister Shiyu, I've already handed over all the wheat hay grass. What else do you want me to hand over?" Princess Shiyu's face sank. "Ninth sister, don't be stubborn. The world is so big, it can't be the king's land. The medicinal herbs you pick should be handed over to the crown prince." Yun Chujio curled the corners of her lips. "Sister Shiyu, you're right. The world is so big, it is indeed the king's land. However, let me remind you that the current emperor's body is still fine. Why is the crown prince so eager to replace him?" Princess Shiyu's expression immediately stiffened. The crown prince looked at her unhappily and then said to Yun Chujio, "Impudent. This is outrageous. Kill her." Although the people behind the crown prince were unwilling, they did not dare to offend the crown prince. They could only rush towards He Xinjiu. "Stop. The crown prince is confused. Are you also confused? I am the miss of the Yun mansion. What right do you have to attack me?" Yun Chujio sat on the back of Qi Shao and said with a sneer. Those noble children were also very helpless. They did not want to attack, but they could not disobey the crown prince's words. They simply wished they could faint. Princess Shiyu looked conflicted. She stomped her feet and said, "Ninth sister, don't make mistakes again and again. Hurry up and kowtow and admit your mistake. The crown prince won't really kill you." Yun Chujio looked at Princess Shiyu sarcastically and said indifferently, "Sister Shiyu, aren't you tired of acting? Your White Lotus character has already collapsed. What's the point of acting?" Although Princess Shiyu had never heard of White Lotus or character design, it did not prevent her from understanding the meaning behind Yun Chujio's words. She said exasperatedly, "Ninth sister, you're really too insensible. Since that's the case, I don't care if you're dead or alive." The crown prince said impatiently, "What are you still standing there for? Kill her." Just as the fifth prince was debating whether to intervene, Yun Chujio laughed, "You want to kill me? Come, I want to see if you dare to kill me." If I die, our Yunwang manor will definitely not spare those who make a move. The emperor will naturally not execute the crown prince. When the time comes, all of you will be scapegoats. Those noble children were instantly caught in a dilemma. The Yunwang manor was not to be trifled with, especially with the old prince and the old consort still alive. If they were to really pursue this matter, they would not be able to get away with it. Just as everyone was in a dilemma. They heard Yun Chuzhou shout loudly, "All of you, come over here. All of you have divided my phoenix feathers and eaten my phoenix eggs. Now is the time for you to compensate me. Come and protect me. I want to see who has no eyes and dares to provoke me." Everyone was stunned to discover that Yun Chuzhou was actually waving at the high-level demonic beasts in the distance. Everyone was first shocked, then laughed out loud. This Yun Chuzhou was most likely a fool. Although the demonic beasts didn't hurt her, this didn't mean that the high-level demonic beasts would listen to her. How could they protect her? This was simply impossible. However, when the crowd saw more than a dozen high-level demonic beasts running toward them, they were so frightened that their claws went numb. The crown prince's expression also changed. Those high-level demonic beasts actually listened to this slut? Princess Shiyu said from the side, "Your Highness, we still need to pick the fiery fruits first. It's not too late to deal with other matters after we leave the Divine Phoenix Valley." The crown prince knew that Princess Shiyu was giving him a way out. He thought to himself, well, when we return to An City, let's see how he will deal with this bitch. She actually dared to openly oppose him. She was simply courting death. The crown prince glared fiercely at Yun Chuzhou, then turned around and left. Once the crown prince left, those sons of noble families naturally followed him. The fifth prince hesitated for a moment, but still followed the crown prince. Yun Shilian was dragged by Yun Jichen and left reluctantly. Yun Chuzhou looked at the back of the crowd with a faint expression, then turned her head to look at the dozen or so high-level demonic beasts that ran over. These high-level demonic beasts naturally weren't protecting He Xingjiu, they just wanted to eat the crown prince and the others. Therefore, the demonic beasts didn't stop and continued to chase ahead. When the crown prince and the others saw the high-level demonic beasts chasing after them, they immediately went into a mess. They screamed and ran forward, and soon they disappeared without a trace. Yun Chuzhou curled her lips and said to Qi Shao, "Big fatty, let's go. Let's go to the fire pit and see if there are any good things." Yun Chuzhiu's words were naturally for the high-level demonic beasts that were still observing her. She was putting on a show so that they would not be exposed. At this moment, Qi Shao also wished that he could stay away from these high-level demonic beasts. Thus he carried He Xingjiu and quickly left. After He Xingjiu arrived at the fire pit, not to mention finding the broken shovel, she naturally kept it in her storage ring. Then she rummaged around and finally left with a sigh. The high-level demonic beasts that followed her dispersed. He Xingjiu heaved a sigh of relief in her heart. It seemed that those demonic beasts had completely believed her words. He Xingjiu counted with her fingers. The Divine Phoenix Valley would close in 2 days. When she left the Divine Phoenix Valley, the Crown Prince and Princess Shiyu would definitely make things difficult for her. She had to think of a way to escape. For the next 2 days, He Xingjiu hid in a cave for peace and quiet. She did not go out to show off. Finally, it was the day when the Divine Phoenix Valley would close. After the Crown Prince left the Divine Phoenix Valley, he waited for Yun Chuzhou at the entrance of the valley with a cold expression. These 2 days he had been chased like a stray dog by those high-level demonic beasts. All of this was caused by that bitch Yun Chuzhou. Today he had to kill her. Yun Jichen secretly sent a voice transmission talisman to the He Shi, telling her to quickly find the old consort. Other than that, he really couldn't think of any other good ideas. Finally, Yun Chuzhou slowly walked out of the Divine Phoenix Valley. Those sons of noble families instantly surrounded Yun Chuzhou in the middle. Now, this Yun Chuzhou no longer had Qi Shao and those demonic beasts. Let's see how she would continue to show off. The Crown Prince laughed coldly, "Kill this bitch. I will bear all the consequences myself." Those people were just about to make a move when He Xingjiu coldly said, "Your Highness, don't forget how my father got the title of God of War. If the Yun family army finds out that you killed me, do you think you can still hold on to your position as the Crown Prince?" The Crown Prince's expression froze. Although the Yun family army had always been present, their real fame shook the 4 countries because of Yun Fengjin. In the hearts of the Yun family army, Yun Fengjin was like a god. Although this Yun Chuzhou was only a little girl and would not do much, if the Yun family army found out that he had killed her, it might really cause some trouble. Just as the Crown Prince was hesitating, the sky suddenly darkened. Large chunks of dark clouds began to gather, and everyone could feel the pressure that filled the sky and earth. It was simply suffocating. He Xinjia's heart was filled with joy and worry. It seemed that the long-awaited heavenly lightning had finally arrived. It was probably because Xiao Hanyo had swallowed the Nirvana pearl that the heavenly lightning was attracted, because it was like this last time. She did not know how powerful the heavenly lightning in the towering sky continent was, but she hoped that it was not too strong. She did not want to lose her life just like that. Princess Xiyu knew that the crown prince no longer wanted to kill Yun Chujio. At least he did not want to kill this bitch in front of everyone. Thus she said, "Your Highness, I see that the sky is a little strange. Let's hurry back to An City. Ninth sister is naughty. When I go back, I will report to grandfather and grandmother. They will definitely punish her severely. Please spare him this time." The crown prince was very satisfied with Princess Shiyu's understanding. He said with a stiff face, "All right, for your sake, let her off this time. Let's go back to the city." Everyone followed the crown prince and left. After the incident just now, the fifth prince became even more determined to marry Yun Chujio. He was afraid that other princes would beat him to it, so he smiled at Yun Chujio and followed. Everyone from the Yun family also left. Only Yun Jichen and Yun Shilian stayed behind. Yun Chujio was disgusted by the fifth prince's affectionate smile. This fifth prince was seriously ill. Yun Shilian ran to He Xinjia's side and said happily, "Little Jiu, you're finally fine. That's great. Let's hurry up and leave too." Yun Chujio smiled and summoned a giant rabbit. "Let's go. Let's have a competition to see if my rabbit is faster or your wildebeest is faster." The corner of Yun Zichen's eyes twitched. This little Jiu was really big-hearted. After such a big incident, she actually had the heart to compete to see whose mount could run faster. However, when he thought of the old princess consort and the others waiting in the divine hall, he reckoned that the crown prince would not dare to do anything to Yun Chujio, so he nodded. "Alright, the sky is so dark. I'm afraid that something bad will happen. It's better to leave quickly." The three of them got on their respective mounts and sped away. The sky was getting darker and the visibility was getting lower and lower. When Yun Jichen and Yun Shilian reached the city gate, they realized that Yun Chujio was gone. The two of them thought that Yun Chujio's rabbit was running slowly, so they waited for a while, but they still did not see Yun Chujio coming over. Rumble. A loud noise startled the two of them, and their wildebeest fell directly to the ground. Yun Jichen frowned. "Let's go into the city and go to the divine hall first. It seems that something big is going to happen." Yun Shilian stretched her neck and looked into the distance again. Unfortunately, it was dark and she couldn't see anything, so she could only follow Yun Jichen into An City. At this moment, He Xinjio was sitting on a stone by the side of the road, holding her cheeks and trying to think of a way. The heavenly lightning strike just now had struck her body. Her heart immediately turned cold. The heavenly lightning in the towering sky continent was much stronger than the heavenly lightning in the immortal origin continent. She might not be able to withstand it. Could it be that she was killed just like that? He Xinjia's head was spinning rapidly. There was nowhere to hide. Moreover, she had to avoid everyone so that she would not be regarded as a monster and a jinx. It seemed that she could only make things difficult for Wu Yun. It would be great if she could stop him from hacking for a while. However, how could she do that? Wu Yun in the sky originally thought that when a bolt of lightning struck down, that little weakling would be so frightened that he would run around in a panic. He might even kneel on the ground and cry for mercy. In the end, he was stunned to discover that the little weakling was actually distracted while sitting on the stone. Distracted? Distracted. Damn it. How could he disregard the heavenly lightning like that? I've never heard of anyone being able to be absent-mindedness when struck. It was truly detestable to the extreme. Boom. 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 Wu Yun struck He Xinjio with more than 10 heavenly lightning bolts consecutively. It felt that He Xinjio would either be killed or injured after being struck by the heavenly lightning bolts. In the end, it turned out that the huge rock had been reduced to ashes. However, that damned weakling still looked as if she was absent-mindedness. Could she be an idiot? Yes, she must be an idiot. Otherwise, how could she not be afraid of being struck by lightning? Fuck. It was the first time in so many years that she had struck an idiot. What bad luck. He Xinjia's eyes lit up at this moment. This was the first time she had been struck by lightning in the towering sky continent. Wu Yun might not know how abnormal she was. Perhaps she could deceive the heavens and the sea. This guy took Xiao Hanyo out of the spiritual beast bag and looked at Xiao Hanyo's plump appearance. He said with disdain, "You idiot. It's because of you that the heavenly lightning was attracted. You can bear it yourself." Xiao Hanyo knew that he was in the wrong and said obsequiously, "Master, I'm also trying to cultivate faster. Now I can use the nirvana fire once in a while. If anyone provokes you, it'll help you burn them to death." Yun Chujio curled her lips. What a nice way of saying it. Hurry up and help me get struck by lightning. Pan DN0V1 from Xiao Hanyo flapped its short wings embarrassedly and helped Hei Shinjio get struck by lightning. The corner of Hei Xinjia's eyes twitched. This guy was getting fatter and fatter, but his pair of short wings were not very long. They were flying unsteadily, and it seemed that they were not as high as the hens. Yun Chujio took out Xiao Mogu as well. She fed the two of them first, then she thought of a way to trick the silly cloud in the sky. Wu Yun in the sky was shocked when he saw Xiao Hanyo. He knew that the phoenix had appeared, so he came to hack it. But who could tell him that such an ugly fat bird was a phoenix? What a joke. When did the phoenix become so ugly? Wu Yun had not recovered from the shock when he saw the little mushroom next to Xiao Mogu. What the hell was that? 15 minutes later, Xiao Mogu and Xiao Hanyo could not take it anymore, so Hei Shinjio had to put them into the spirit beast bag. Hei Shinjio looked up at Wu Yun in the sky with narrowed eyes, then sighed and said, "It's over. It looks like she's going to die today. The heavenly lightning is too powerful." Wu Yun in the sky was dazed. He was not a fool, was he? As long as he knew how powerful she was, he thought to himself. With a few more heavenly lightning strikes, he was sure that the darn girl would be dead. Boom. Boom. The heavenly lightning struck down one after another. Hei Shinjio screamed miserably, "Ouch. I can't move anymore. Fuck. I feel that I'm going to die. I feel that my internal organs are going to explode. I didn't do anything bad either. Am I going to be struck to death just like that? I can't die in peace." At first, Yun Chujia's scream was quite loud. Later on, it became quieter and quieter. In the end, there was no more movement. Wu Yun thought in puzzlement, could it be that she was already struck to death? But that was also true. According to common sense, she should have been struck to death long ago. This wretched girl was already abnormal enough. Wu Yun only saw that the deep pit was filled with black ash. He did not see that smelly girl. Could it be that she had already been hacked into ashes? It sensed again but did not find any spiritual energy fluctuations. It seemed that she had really been hacked to death. In order to be on the safe side, Wu Yun randomly hacked for a while more before floating away in satisfaction. Was done. As the dark clouds dispersed, a pair of black claws extended out from the soil. Then Hei Shinjo crawled out, cough cough, cough cough. Damn it. It's a good thing that I was smart enough to deceive the damn Wang Banyan. Otherwise it would have been really tough this time. TSK. Wu Yun of the towering sky continent is really stupid. I'm sure that he will have a lot of fun in the future. Hei Shinjio was afraid that she would be discovered, so she quickly jumped out of the deep pit. After hiding in a hidden place and using the cleaning spell, she changed into a set of clothes that looked exactly the same. Only then did she ride the giant rabbit and quickly run toward Incheng. At this moment, in the divine hall, everyone was kneeling on the ground. As the national master was reciting the eulogy, they were all praying for the divine phoenix to protect them. The national master's explanation for the heavenly lightning was that the demonic beasts had eaten the phoenix eggs, so Tiandao was furious. That was why the heavenly lightning descended. At this moment, when everyone saw that the dark clouds had dispersed and everything had returned to normal, they felt that it was all thanks to the eulogy recitation, and they were even more convinced of the national master. The national master got everyone to stand up and then said, "Now we will start counting the fiery fruits picked by the various families, and then distribute the divine phoenix stones according to the results." The old princess glanced around and realized that there was no Hei Shinjio in the crowd. Although he sure told the old princess that Yun Chujio had offended the crown prince, he told her later that the crown prince did not continue to cause trouble for Yun Chujio. In addition to the sudden change in the situation, the old princess thought that Yun Chujio had already arrived at the divine hall. The old princess' heart sank. Could it be that she was intercepted and killed on the way? Could it be that it was that bastard, the boss, again? The old consort wanted to ask Princess Shiyu and the others about the situation, but Princess Shiyu and the others had been called to the other side by the imperial advisor to count the number of fiery fruits. She could only wait anxiously. Zheng Shi also discovered that Yun Chujio had not returned. She could not help but gloat in her heart. That slut had most likely died outside. That was great. Very quickly, the number of fiery fruits was calculated. In previous years, the number of fiery fruits in King Yun's residence was slightly less than the crown prince and the four princes. It was far ahead of the other nobles. However, this year, it was unexpectedly ranked outside the 20th place. On the other hand, the number of the crown prince far exceeded the other four princes. His expression was quite smug. Yun Fengjian's expression did not change much. He knew what was going on with one guess. Jifeng and Shiyu must have given a large portion of the fiery fruits they picked to the crown prince. He felt that the two of them were doing the right thing. The crown prince was going to ascend the throne in the future, and pleasing the crown prince was more important than anything else. The old prince frowned and sighed in his heart. A bunch of idiots. It was fine if they had given little in the past, but this time it was so obvious. Did they think the emperor was an idiot? Although the Yun residence did not lack a few divine phoenix stones, how would the other distinguished guests view the Yun residence? Actually, Yun Jifeng and Princess Shiyu did not want to make it so obvious either. However, the crown prince's guards had been killed by the Crimson Manga previously, so they had no choice but to give more than half of the fiery fruits to the crown prince. Just as the imperial tutor was about to distribute the divine phoenix stone, he heard someone at the door say crisply, "Wait. I still have fiery fruits here." Everyone turned around and saw Yun Chujio standing at the door with a smile on her face. The old imperial consort turned around and immediately felt relieved. It was good that little Jiu was fine. The state preceptor's expression didn't change much. He said indifferently, "Since you still have the fiery fruits, hand them over." Hei Shinjio slowly walked to the state preceptor and glanced at the current ranking. She handed the state preceptor dozens of fiery fruits. After the grand tutor finished counting, he found that the number of fiery fruits in the Yun mansion was ranked 6th, which was below the princes and above the other nobles. The grand tutor's eyes twitched slightly. This Yun Chujio was as smart as the old Duke Yun. Seeing that no one had any objections, the grand tutor began to distribute the divine phoenix stone. When Yun Jifeng was about to receive the divine phoenix stone, Hei Shinjio squeezed in front of him and put the divine phoenix stone into her storage ring. Yun Jifeng's expression immediately darkened, but he did not dare to lose his temper in the divine hall. He glared at Yun Chujio with hatred and then left. After the divine phoenix stone was distributed, the imperial preceptor began to preside over the sacrificial ceremony for the divine wind birthday. It was nothing more than a few eulogies, and then he placed the fiery fruits on the altar. From the first layer to the 9th layer, it was filled with fiery fruits. Hei Shinjio cursed in her heart. What a waste. That so-called divine phoenix was long dead. How could it possibly enjoy these fiery fruits? However, Hei Shinjio was stunned to discover that the fiery fruits were actually decreasing at a speed visible to the naked eye. Oh my, could it really have been eaten by that divine phoenix? At this moment, the imperial preceptor asked Yun Chujio about the phoenix egg again. Hei Shinjio described it vividly, just like what the others said. The imperial preceptor did not say much and indicated that everyone could leave the divine hall. At this moment, no one expected that the altar would suddenly burst into flames. The phantom of a 5-colored phoenix appeared in it. Everyone was shocked at first, then they knelt on the ground. Even the imperial preceptor, who had always been calm, knelt on the ground. While everyone was pleasantly surprised, they also felt a little uneasy. Could it be that the divine phoenix came to settle the score with them because of the phoenix egg? To be honest, the phoenix egg was eaten by the demonic beasts. This had nothing to do with them. Only Hei Shinjio was kneeling on the ground, looking at the 5-colored phoenix in the raging fire and marveling. She used her spiritual sense to speak to Xiao Hanyo. "Xiao Hei, look at his feathers. This is a real phoenix. Compared to him, you are like an ugly duckling and a white swan." Xiao Hanyo was furious. "Master, you have disappointed me. I didn't expect your taste to be so bad. Is this called beauty? This is called vulgarity. My black feather is so luxurious and high class. Can this coquettish bitch compare to me?" Yun Chujio's eyes twitched. Xiao Hei did not learn anything else from her, but his skin was getting thicker. Xiao Hanyo ignored the little black bird and stared at the phantom of the phoenix with narrowed eyes. What was this thing trying to do? At this moment, the phantom of the phoenix cried out, "Clang, clang, clang." The imperial tutor and the others were even more reverent. They did not even dare to look at the divine phoenix. They had been lucky enough to see the divine phoenix appear. After the phoenix called out a few times, it spoke in human language. "I am very happy with the 9 daughters of the Yun family. Please come forward quickly." Hei Shinjio didn't react in the beginning. When everyone's envious and jealous gazes fell on her, she finally reacted. Emma, wasn't she the 9 daughters of the Yun family? If an ordinary person were to receive the divine phoenix's favor, they would be so happy that they would faint. However, this fellow had some doubts in his heart. What did this 5-colored phoenix want her to do? She did not think that the 5-colored phoenix really liked her. She recalled the 9-tailed fox that she had met in the Tianyuan Academy. The remnant soul of the 9-tailed fox had tried to trick her to possess it. Could this 5-colored phoenix have the same intention? When everyone saw that Yun Chujio did not move for a long time, they all thought that she was too excited to know what to do. The old imperial consort said excitedly, "Little Jiu, what are you still standing there for? Hurry up and go over." Yun Chujio thought to herself, "Grandmother, do you think this is a good thing? Maybe your granddaughter will die after she goes over." Seeing that Yun Chujio still did not move, Saint Martial Emperor could not help but frown. "Yun Chujio, hurry up and go over. Do you want to disobey the divine phoenix's orders?" Hei Shinjio had no choice but to stand up and pretend to be very excited. She trembled slightly and walked forward. However, this fellow walked extremely slowly and was not much faster than a snail. Hei Shinjio dawdled while thinking of a solution. If the 5-colored phoenix really wanted to possess her, what should she do? According to the degree of superstition of these people, even if they knew that the divine phoenix wanted to possess her, they would most likely willingly offer her up. In their hearts, this divine phoenix was a god. Hei Shinjio thought again. This 5-colored phoenix probably could not leave the altar. Otherwise it would have rushed out long ago. As long as she did not go up the altar, she should be fine. Yun Chujio finally walked to the front of the altar, but she did not go up the altar. The 5-colored phoenix chirped a few times and said, "You have ascended the altar. I have something to tell you." Yun Chujio bared her white teeth and said, "Divine Phoenix, if you have something to say it now. I am not deaf." The kneeling people shivered. This Yun Chujio was really audacious. She dared to talk to the divine phoenix like that. Was she courting death? The 5-colored phoenix was silent for a moment before it said, "I order you to quickly ascend the altar. Otherwise I will punish you." When the people heard that, they immediately felt numb. The divine phoenix's words were very clear. If Yun Chujio did not ascend the altar, all of them would die. Therefore, everyone stared at Hei Shinjio fiercely. Hei Shinjio did not doubt that if she did not ascend the altar, these people would throw her onto the altar. Hei Shinjio could only continue to move forward slowly. While walking, she communicated with the little black bird with her spiritual sense. "Xiao Hei, if this coquettish bitch wants to possess me, what should I do? It's already good enough that those people won't help it. They definitely won't help me. Master, I reckon that if this ugly bird wants to possess you, it won't do so in front of these people. It will definitely bring you to the bottom of the altar. Therefore, when the time comes, why don't you just ask those remnant souls to help you take care of it? Even the 9-tailed fox had been taken care of by you. Why would you be afraid of a coquettish slut?" Xiao Hanio said disdainfully. Actually, Xiao Hanio was very excited right now. If it were to swallow the remnant soul of this coquettish slut, its strength might soar. It was simply like a pie falling from the sky. Of course, it wasn't a match for the remnant soul of the 5-colored phoenix. It could only hope that if they were to really fight, it would get a share of the spoils. Hei Shinjio still had a trace of hope in her heart. Perhaps this 5-colored phoenix had good intentions. Perhaps it was because she was so beautiful that it wanted to give her a few good treasures. Hei Shinjio finally reached the first level of the altar. A trace of treachery flashed in the eyes of the 5-colored phoenix. In an instant, it and Yun Chujio disappeared. Everyone stared at this scene with their mouths agape. At this moment, the fire on the altar was still burning fiercely, but where did the 5-colored phoenix and Yun Chujio go? Everyone did not dare to leave and could only kneel and wait. At this moment, Yun Chujio was already in a spacious stone hall. It seemed that this stone hall had existed for many years. In the middle of the stone hall was a stone platform. A huge skeleton was fixed on the stone platform by 6 10,000-year-old black iron chains, and there were many 5-colored feathers scattered around the stone platform. This scene was exactly the same as when she met the 9-tailed fox. It seemed that the damn phoenix was really going to possess her. While Hei Shinjio was thinking, she saw the phantom of a 5-colored phoenix appear on the skeleton. The 5-colored phoenix cried out a few times, then it said, "I've waited for countless years. Finally, the shell of the heavenly thunder spiritual root has arrived. Little ant, please commit suicide." Yun Chujio blinked her eyes and squeezed out a few drops of tears. Oh my God. Is this true? I'm so blessed. It's my honor to be able to contribute my body to the divine phoenix. The five-colored phoenix was obviously shocked by Yun Chujia's words. However, thinking about it, these humans were extremely stupid, so it was normal for them to have such thoughts. Therefore the five-colored phoenix said, "That's good. Kill yourself. Divine Phoenix, before I die, you have to let me die clearly. Why didn't you come out when I sacrificed myself last time? Why did you come out this time?" Hei Shinjio asked curiously. The five-colored phoenix did not hide anything and told her everything. It turned out that the remnant soul of the five-colored phoenix was not enough to keep it awake at all times. Those fiery fruits grew in the divine phoenix valley and absorbed the power of nirvana. It was very beneficial for the five-colored phoenix to maintain its soul. Therefore, the five-colored phoenix would only wake up during its birthday every year and absorb the power of nirvana from the fiery fruits. Today, after the five-colored phoenix woke up and heard the thunder, it immediately felt that something was wrong. After seeing Yun Chujio, it was overjoyed to find out that she had the heavenly thunder spirit root. That was why it brought her in. "Little ant, you already know the past. Kill yourself," the five-colored phoenix said with some excitement. As long as it successfully possessed, it could escape from the restrictions of the array. "Divine Phoenix, I still don't understand one thing. You are clearly trapped here. How did you appear on the altar? This is too magical," Yun Chujio said with admiration. The five-colored phoenix said proudly, "How is this difficult? There is a teleportation array on the stone platform and above. As long as the array is activated, you can teleport. You are really stupid." Yun Chujio nodded and then said with a smile, "Yes, I am very stupid. But I still seem to be a little smarter than you. You want to possess me? TSK, you are really shameless. Look at your messy hair, it's like rooster feathers, it's so ugly. A coquettish bitch like you is not even worthy to carry the shoes of the black phoenix." The five-colored phoenix was stunned at first, and then became angry from embarrassment. "You are talking nonsense. The black phoenix has long been dead. I am the only divine phoenix in the world." Xiao Hanyo, who was inside Hei Xinjia's spiritual beast bag, jumped and cursed, "Shameless mongrel chicken. You're the one who's dead. Your whole family is dead. I just can't beat you or else I'll kill you." Yun Chujio, it sounded quite reasonable in the beginning, but in the end. Hei Shinjio glanced at the five-colored phoenix. "Hey little bitch, are all five-colored phoenixes as shameless as you? And you call yourselves divine phoenixes? Would divine phoenixes do such a shameless thing as possession? Little bitch?" The five-colored phoenix was so angry that its anger almost dissipated. This bitch's words were really too sarcastic. The five-colored phoenix was so angry that it did not care about its words anymore. It said exasperatedly, "What happened to divine phoenixes? If you had been locked up here for tens of thousands of years, you would have also thought of ways to possess them. Black Phoenix and the others were so kind. What happened in the end? TSK, all of them died. Haha, they always thought that they were more noble than other phoenixes. In the end, didn't they all die?" Xiao Hanyo couldn't take it anymore. "Master, let me out. I must scold it to death today." The corner of Yun Chujia's eyes twitched. Looking at it, she wanted to see how it would scold the five-colored phoenix to death. Yun Chujio let Xiao Hanyo out. However, to be on the safe side, she still activated the spiritual energy shield to prevent the five-colored phoenix from suddenly attacking. It would be terrible if it took Xiao Hanyo's house. "You motley chicken. You're the one who's dead. Look at who I am." Xiao Hanyo said arrogantly with one of its short wings on its waist and one of its short wings pointing at the five-colored phoenix. The five-colored phoenix was stunned at first, then it could not help but take a few steps back. You're the black phoenix? No, that's impossible. How can the black phoenix be so fat and ugly?" Xiao Hanyo was most afraid of others saying that he was too fat because he was ugly. He pointed at the five-colored phoenix and cursed, "You coquettish bitch. You're the ugly one. You are so ugly that people can't bear to look at you. How could your five-colored phoenix produce such a shameless bitch like you? You still want to possess me? You are so shameless. If your five-colored phoenix ancestors knew that you are so shameless, they would probably be so angry that all their feathers would fall off." The five-colored phoenix was being scolded by Xiao Hanyo. It wanted to interrupt a few times, but it was rejected by Xiao Hanyo's high-pitched voice. In the end, it was so angry that it cried out, You don't have to stand there and talk. It turns out that you haven't been locked up here for tens of thousands of years. Besides, What did we five-colored phoenix do wrong that we have to be locked up here by humans? This isn't fair. Moreover, the weak are prey to the strong. What's wrong with me? You are the one who has embarrassed the Phoenix clan. As the Black Phoenix of the Phoenix clan, you actually acknowledged a human as your master. You are simply a cheap bone. You are the fucking cheap one. Your whole family is cheap. What do you know? I signed an equal contract with her and she treated me as a friend, and even helped me obtain 2 Nirvana pearls. Pandian 0ve1 cmh. I get it. You're jealous that I have such a good master, aren't you? TSK, you're really pitiful. You act all mysterious all day long, and all you can do is cheat some fiery fruits to eat. It perfectly explains a sentence in your body. A phoenix in distress is not as good as a chicken. Aren't you just a motley chicken now? Ah. Xiao Hanyo laughed so hard that he leaned back and forth and was very proud. The five-colored phoenix cried out a few times in anger, then it said, "Good, very good. Originally I wanted to snatch that smelly girl's room. Since you came out to throw your life away, I will snatch your room. At that time I will be the only black phoenix in the world, ha." Xiao Hanyo glared at her and cursed, "Shameless. You little chicken, you still want to take my house? Is your filthy soul worthy of my noble body? I'll show you my master's power today. Master, put me away you go." Hey Shinjio, who would want such a shameless spiritual pet? He sold it for a low-grade spirit stone. The five-colored phoenix was also shocked by Xiao Hanyo's shamelessness. How could the supreme black phoenix of the phoenix family produce such a shameless creature? But it didn't matter. Soon it was the only black phoenix in the world. The five-colored phoenix was very confident in killing Yun Chujio and Xiao Hanyo. That black phoenix was obviously still a cub and very weak. This little girl was even less worth mentioning. Thinking of this, the five-colored phoenix spat out a fireball at Hei Shinjio. It thought that although its nirvana fire was less than 1/10,000th of its peak power, there was no problem in burning this little girl to death. It saw the little girl and said with a smile, "Io, you want to burn me to death? Aha, come on, I'm a little cold." Was this little girl crazy? However, even after the fire was extinguished, the little girl was still alive and kicking. She was still shouting, "Again. Again. Let the fireballs come more fiercely." The five-colored phoenix was shocked. It comforted itself that this little girl probably had a defensive spiritual artifact on her, and she would not be able to hold on for long. Therefore, the black phoenix kept spitting fireballs, but Hei Shinjio was getting more and more lively, and the phantom of the five-colored phoenix was getting fainter and fainter. The five-colored phoenix was about to cry. How could there be a monster that could not be burned to death in this world? The five-colored phoenix had no choice but to give up on fire attacks and attack Hei Shinjio with its sharp claws and beak. Hei Shinjio bared her little white teeth. "Little bitch, I would have spared you if you had retreated in the face of difficulties. However, you just had to seek your own death. Then don't blame me. Come, let's see whether the ancient ferocious beasts are stronger or you, little bitch." Before the five-colored phoenix understood what Yun Chujio meant, 2 huge creatures were released. One of them looked like a tiger but had a pair of slightly curved fangs. Its tail was very thick and had saw teeth on it. The other one had a huge beast head that looked like a tiger's head. It had 2 horns on its head and a pair of huge wings on its back. The five-colored phoenix was so shocked that it almost disappeared. Wasn't this Tao Wu and Qiongqi? How did this brat have their remnant souls? Just as the five-colored phoenix was in shock, it heard Qiongqi say, "Little fairy, you even dared to kill the five-colored phoenix. You have reached a new level of evil. You are becoming more and more likable." Yun Chujio was already numb to the stupid and ferocious Qiongqi. She glared at it and said, "Cut the crap and kill it." "All right. Little fairy, scold me a little more. I feel so comfortable when I hear your scolding." Hei Shinjio, the five-colored phoenix rolled its eyes and said, "You are ancient ferocious beasts, but you listen to her? You are so despicable. Why don't we join hands to kill her, and the entire sky-high continent will be ours?" Qiongqi glanced at the five-colored phoenix. "Damn it, I don't like good birds like you the most. You want to sow discord between me and my favorite little fairy. You're courting death." The five-colored phoenix was so angry that she was twitching. She turned her gaze to Tao Wu and asked, "Tao Wu, what do you say?" Tao Wu snorted coldly and said, "Even though I, Tao Wu, am a ferocious beast, I do not want to do something like possession. Do you want to die or let us kill you?" The five-colored phoenix's heart was about to collapse. The people it met today were all freaks. Each of them was more abnormal than the last. It gritted its teeth. Although Tao Wu and Xiongqi were ancient ferocious beasts, their figures were obviously much lighter than its. It was still uncertain who would be the final victor. What was there to be afraid of? Hence, the five-colored phoenix sneered, "Since you guys are courting death, don't blame me for not being polite. I can just swallow you guys to solidify my soul." Xiongqi curled his lips and said, "With the black-hearted little fairy here, you still want to win? You're dreaming. Little fairy, release that pig and well gang up on this mongrel chicken." Hearing that, Yun Chujio released a group of piglets with spiritual power. The five-colored phoenix was dumbfounded. What kind of trick was this? Did she want to kill it with cuteness? The five-colored phoenix disdainfully grabbed with its claws, and those piglets with spiritual power instantly dimmed a lot. Before the five-colored phoenix could be proud of itself, De Hua came out lazily. The five-colored phoenix took a step back again. It was it. Xiongqi grinned and said, "Hey little bastard, come on. I can use you to nourish myself. The soul of a phoenix is a great tonic." Although the five-colored phoenix was a little timid, it knew that it had to fight to the death today. It shot a fireball at Xiongqi. Xiongqi was not as perverse as He Xinjiu. It flapped its wings and dodged the five-colored phoenix's fireball. Then it rushed behind the five-colored phoenix. Just as the five-colored phoenix dodged Xiongqi's attack, Tao with sharp teeth came at it again. Just as it dodged Tao with sharp teeth, De Hua's hooves came at it again. For a moment, the five-colored phoenix was forced into a sorry state by the three of them. At this moment, Yun Chujio secretly put all the phoenix feathers on the ground into her storage ring and then put away the phoenix skeleton. However, it was a pity that the 6 10,000-year-old black iron chains were very strong. She dragged it for a long time but still could not pull it down. He Xinjiu rolled her eyes. She reckoned that the five-colored phoenix was dead and that the 10,000-year-old black iron chains could only be pulled down. Xiongqi caught a glimpse of Yun Chujio's behavior and said excitedly, "Little fairy, you are really bad. We are risking our lives here but you are taking advantage of us. How can you be so bad? I really like you too much." When the five-colored phoenix heard Xiongqi's words, it turned around and found that its feathers and skeleton had been taken away by He Xinjiu. It was so angry that it threw a fireball at He Xinjiu. He Xinjiu said with a smile, come on, continue to spit at me. Little bitch, why are you still alive? Hurry up and die. If you die, you'll be able to pull out the 6 10,000-year-old black iron chains. I'll be your compensation to me." The five-colored phoenix was so angry that it was about to die. It screamed sharply and pounced on He Xinjiu. He Xinjiu was not stupid. She naturally would not sit still and wait for death. She dodged nimbly and shouted, "Little bitch, you're dead for sure today. Don't waste your energy. Just kill yourself." The five-colored phoenix really regretted it at this moment. If it had known that this little girl was so perverted, it would have rather locked up here for tens of thousands of years. It would not have any designs on her. However, how could there be medicine for regret in this world? The five-colored phoenix gritted its teeth. It seemed that it could only fight to the death. If it could not recover, then these people could forget about it. When the five-colored phoenix thought of this, it began to chirp. However, this time the chirping was different from the usual chirping. The chirping contained spiritual energy. Yun Chujio could almost see circles of ripples attacking Xiongqi and the others. What the hell was this? The little black bird in the spiritual beast bag said in surprise, "Xiao Hanio. This is the innate ability of the five-colored phoenix. It intends to perish together with us." Yun Chujio hurriedly asked, "How can we break it?" "I curse it. I can temporarily stop it from chirping. You let Xiongqi and the others kill it at this time. You must hit it with one hit. Otherwise there is really no other way. Okay. After 3 counts you can curse it." Yun Chujio finished instructing Xiao Hanio and shouted at Xiongqi and the other two, "You guys rush towards that mixed-fur chicken right now and kill it." Xiongqi and the other two looked baffled. Could this black-hearted person send them to their deaths? Even so, the three of them still rushed towards the five-colored phoenix at the same time. The five-colored phoenix's eyes revealed a disdainful look. What a bunch of idiots. Its phoenix cry 9 heavens was about to reach its maximum attack value, but they actually rushed over without any regard for their lives. They were really courting death. 1 2 3. The five-colored phoenix suddenly staggered, and its cries stopped abruptly. Almost at the same time the attacks of the Xiongqi trio arrived. He Xinjiu was not idle either. This fellow was holding a large kitchen knife, sitting on a chopping board, and slashing wildly at the five-colored phoenix's phantom image. This fellow was slashing very hard because if they did not kill this mongrel chicken they would all die. The five-colored phoenix wanted to use the phoenix's cry of the nine heavens, but at this moment, its phantom image was getting fainter and fainter. Just when Hei Xingjiu thought it was going to die, the phantom image suddenly started burning. The scorching flames burned Qiongqi and Tao Wu until they cried out. However, there was nothing unusual about Hei Xingjiu. Hei Xingjiu was dumbfounded. What was going on? Why did it spontaneously combust? This guy was really environmentally friendly. He had cremated himself. Hei Xingjiu was afraid that this was some trick of the five-colored phoenix. She stared at the burning flames warily. However, after the flames gradually extinguished, an egg appeared on the ground. Hei Xingjiu was dumbfounded. There was such a trick. Why did an egg appear? Xiao Hanio said pretentiously, "Master, you don't know this. This five-colored phoenix is the only one in the world. Naturally, it won't really die out, so it turned into an egg." Yun Chujiu was still dumbfounded. Since it won't die, it could have just turned itself into an egg. Why did it have to possess it? Master, after it turns into an egg, its spiritual power will be greatly reduced. Just like me, I used to be so awesome, but now I've turned into a weak chicken. Also, after it turns into an egg, although it has a certain amount of inheritance, many things will be forgotten. It's almost the same as dying. Xiao Hanio explained. Yun Chujiu suddenly understood and looked at the phoenix egg on the ground. She wiped her saliva and said, "If that's the case, let's roast this phoenix egg and eat it. I think the taste of this phoenix egg is pretty good. Such a big egg is enough for us to eat." Qiongqi grinned and said, "Little fairy, you are actually willing to eat the phoenix egg. You are really my idol. Unfortunately, I am now a remnant soul, so I can only smell it." At this moment, the phoenix egg on the ground trembled in fear and rolled towards the corner of the wall. Hei Xingjiu, holy shit! The egg had turned into a spirit? Master, this is a phoenix egg after all. It naturally has intelligence. You can either kill it now or keep it. Although it's not as powerful as Xiao Hanio, it was very big when it was born, and it grew faster than Xiao Hanio. "It's not bad for you to be a mount," said the little black bird. This fellow was very bad. Didn't that damned coquettish slut look down on it and acknowledge the little girl as its master? It would let it become the little girl's spiritual pet as well, and it would be a mount. From now on, it would ride on it every day to do whatever it wanted. Just thinking about it was very satisfying. Hei Xingjiu touched her chin. Compared to riding a rabbit and jumping around, riding a phoenix to show off was obviously more impressive. Therefore, Hei Xingjiu jumped in front of the phoenix egg. She bared her teeth and pricked her index finger with a needle. Then she dripped her blood on the phoenix egg. Hei Xingjiu followed the hand seal method that Xiao Hanio had given her and established a contract with the phoenix egg. Xiao Hanio snickered at the side. It had told her master that the seal formation method was a master pet contract. Wasn't this damned pheasant able to show off in the future? Let's see how it will show off in the future. As the phoenix egg was only an egg, its consciousness was very weak. Hei Xingjiu only felt a trace of connection with the phoenix egg and did not feel anything else. On the other hand, the phoenix egg might have already established a contract with Yun Chujiu. It touched the tip of Hei Xingjiu's toes intimately, acting like a spoiled child. Yun Chujiu pursed her lips. It was indeed as if she was dead. If it were the pheasant from before, it would not be so intimate with her. Hei Xingjiu put the phoenix egg into the spirit beast bag. Then Qiongqi opened his mouth and howled, "Little fairy, I want to be with you too. I want to be with you too. Unfortunately, I don't have a body. SOB, SOB, sob. Why am I so miserable?" Tao Wu did not make a sound, but he was obviously very lonely. They were ancient ferocious beasts in the past, but now they were struggling to survive. They could only come out to breathe in such a place with a formation. It was so depressing. Hei Xingjiu frowned. "I did get the formation of the Great Void Soul Repairing Formation in the Hall of Talents, but I can't read all the ancient characters on it." Hei Xingjiu slapped her thigh. Wasn't this a good opportunity? Therefore, she quickly let Fu Ao and the other two out and asked them to help her read the formation of the Great Void Soul Repairing Formation. Yun Chujiu frowned as she listened. The Great Void Soul Repairing Formation was not too difficult to learn, but the core of the formation had to be located in an extremely cold place. If this was in the immortal Yuan continent, she could use the 100,000 feet deep ice abyss as the core of the formation. However, where could she find an extremely cold place in this towering continent? However, no matter what, she finally had some clues. In the future, when she encountered a suitable opportunity, she could help these remnant souls to repair their souls. However, the corpses of the ancient cultivators had been placed with a restriction. He had to think of a way to remove the restriction first. You too, even if I can restore your souls, what if you don't have a body? Yun Chuzhou looked at Qiongqi and Tao Wu. Qiongqi pursed his lips. Little fairy, you underestimate us ancient ferocious beasts. As long as our souls are solid enough, we can give birth to new shells. Little fairy, you'd better hurry up and find that dog shit land of extreme cold. That way we'll be able to collude with each other sooner. I can't wait to help the villain. Hey Shinjio, damn it, if you can't speak then don't speak. You're the wolf, you're the wolf. Hey Shinjio glared at Qiongqi. She did not expect Qiongqi's huge head to turn red. Little fairy, when you look at me like that, I feel numb all over. I'm going to faint from happiness. Hey Shinjio felt that if she did not put away this idiot, her worldview would explode. With such a weirdo by her side, even a good person would be corrupted. After Yun Chuzhou put away Qiongqi and Tao Wu, the little black bird glared at Xiao Hanyo and cursed, "Bah! That bastard Qiongqi. Master, I'm telling you it's not a good thing. Even if you find an extremely cold place, don't let it take out its shell. Otherwise it will ruin your reputation." Yun Chuzhou looked at the little black bird with a faint smile. Xiao Hei, why didn't you scold it in front of Qiongqi just now? Xiao Hanyo shrunk its neck. I'm not afraid of it. I'm afraid of hurting it too much. After all, it's already so pitiful. If I hurt it again, what if it commits suicide? Yun Chuzhou was too lazy to expose it. She looked at the 6 10,000-year-old mysterious chains with shining eyes, ran over and pulled with all her strength. She did not expect that the 5-colored phoenix was dead, so Hei Shinjio used too much strength and fell on her butt. Ignoring the pain in his butt, he pulled the other 5 10,000-year-old black iron chains out. Then it was a tragedy. The entire stone hall shook violently. The place was about to collapse. Hei Shinjio then remembered that the teleportation array was on the stone platform, but she forgot to ask how to open the teleportation array. Would she be crushed to death under it? Just as Hei Shinjio was regretting her decision, Xiao Hanyo said, "Master, you hold the phoenix egg. I don't believe that the phoenix egg doesn't know how to get out." Hei Xinjia's eyes lit up. She quickly carried the huge phoenix egg onto the stone platform. The phoenix egg shimmered. When Hei Shinjio regained her sight, she found herself standing in front of the state preceptor and the others, holding the huge phoenix egg in her hand. Fuck. It was all because of that stupid Xiao Hanyo. This was bad. How was she going to explain this phoenix egg? If these people knew that this was a phoenix egg, wouldn't she become Monk Tang's flesh? Was over. This time she was really screwed by that idiot Xiao Hanyo. Xiao Hanyo was holding his breath, this master of Heishi now. If it hadn't come up with a good idea, she would have been crushed to death. Now she was blaming it. This was infuriating. Hei Shinjio subconsciously put the phoenix egg into the spirit beast pouch. She thought to herself, if these people wanted to ask, she would deny it to death. She would just say that their eyes were playing tricks on them. At this moment, the altar under Hei Xinjia's feet also began to tremble violently. It was obvious that it was about to collapse. Hei Shinjio hurriedly jumped down from the altar. She did not want to be buried alive. In the blink of an eye, the altar disappeared in front of everyone, leaving only a bare empty space. Everyone was shocked by the unexpected turn of events, and no one said anything for a moment. Hei Xinjia's heart was in a mess. Was over. The altar had disappeared and people had discovered the phoenix egg. She would definitely be beaten up later. Why was her life so miserable? After a long while, the national master asked with a sorrowful expression, "Yun Chuzhou, what did you do? Why did the altar disappear? Did you offend the divine phoenix?" Yun Chuzhou blinked her eyes. This old fraud actually did not mention the phoenix egg. Could it be that they did not see the phoenix egg that she was holding? Hei Shinjio rolled her eyes and clapped happily. "State Preceptor, you have the exact opposite. The divine phoenix likes me very much and asked me to be its messenger. Also, it said that it was going to wake up completely after so many years of devout worship. Therefore, it had to concentrate on its cultivation. That's why it removed the altar so that no one would disturb it." The imperial tutor and everyone were skeptical. Was that really the case? Yun Chuzhou picked the shortest and darkest phoenix feather and held it in her hand. Then she said, The divine phoenix was afraid that you wouldn't believe me, so it asked me to give this phoenix feather to the imperial tutor. The imperial tutor took the phoenix feather in disbelief. He felt the residual pressure on the feather and knelt on the ground with a plop. He said excitedly, "It's really the divine phoenix feather. Our divine phoenix is about to awaken. God bless our East Phoenix Kingdom." Saint Martial Emperor and the others also knelt down one after another with excited expressions on their faces. Hei Xingjiu laughed in her heart. These people were simply superstitious. She thought that they would have to go through a lot of trouble, but she did not expect that they would be dismissed with just a broken feather. If they knew that the divine phoenix had become her mount in the future, wouldn't they be so shocked that their eyeballs would fall out? Just as Hei Xingjiu was secretly pleased with herself, the national master said again, "Miss Jiu, the divine phoenix is looking for you to convey this matter?" Yun Chujio nodded. "That's right. In addition, the divine phoenix has also given me a secret mission, but I can't tell you. When the time is right, I will naturally tell you." Although the imperial tutor was very curious about the so-called secret mission, out of respect for the divine phoenix, he did not dare to ask further. He continued, "Miss Jiu, if you need my help, feel free to look for me." Yun Chujio nodded her head pretentiously. "Then thank you, imperial tutor." This fellow was so proud in her heart. After this incident, not only did she not die, she even got a phoenix egg. Moreover, she was now the messenger of the divine phoenix. With the imperial tutor's protection, who would dare to provoke her? Princess Shiyu could not suppress the jealousy in her heart. On what basis? On what basis was this country bumpkin chosen by the divine phoenix? On what basis did she steal all of her limelight the moment she returned? Not only did her grandfather and grandmother dote on her, even the imperial tutor was biased towards her. She should not have lived in this world. She deserved to die. At this moment, the sky turned dark again. Everyone was shocked. Although it was almost evening, it should not have turned dark so soon, right? Xinjia's heart sank. What the fuck? Could it be that old bastard Tian Dao had sent Wu Yun to strike her again because she had contracted the five-colored phoenix? Previously she had managed to trick that Wu Yun with great difficulty. If it was still that Wu Yun now, wouldn't she be furious from embarrassment? What should she do? She couldn't possibly be struck by lightning in public, right? The guy rolled his eyes and said, "I'm going out of the city to take care of some matters now. Don't follow me. Otherwise, if the divine phoenix were to punish me, I won't be able to do anything about it." The national master hurriedly said, "Don't worry, Miss Jiu. No one dares to ruin your business. Please do as you please." Hei Xingjiu nodded in satisfaction. Then she hopped out of the divine hall, rode on the giant rabbit and ran out of the city. The imperial preceptor looked at the crowd and said, "Let's go." After everyone had left, Saint Martial Emperor said to the imperial preceptor, "Imperial preceptor, is what Yun Chujio said true? Is the divine phoenix really going to wake up?" The imperial preceptor held the phoenix feather in his hand and said, "Yun Chujio shouldn't have the guts to lie. Besides, if it wasn't for the divine phoenix's instructions, where would Yun Chujio get the divine phoenix feather? How could the altar disappear?" Saint Martial Emperor thought that it made sense. Yun Chujio was only a little girl at the 8th level of the spiritual space realm, so it was impossible for her to have such an ability. Moreover, according to the prophecy, Yun Chujio would be the master of the divine phoenix. Therefore, it made sense for the divine phoenix to choose her as its messenger. Perhaps, after the divine phoenix woke up, it would really recognize her as its master. When Saint Martial Emperor thought of this, his heart was moved. Naturally, the master of the divine phoenix could not let others take advantage of him. Previously, Lao Wu seemed to want to marry Yun Chujio, so he might as well agree to it. After Princess Shiyu left the divine hall, she did not return to King Yun's residence. Instead, she followed the crown prince to the crown prince's residence. "Your Highness, I didn't expect my 9th sister to actually become the divine phoenix emissary. If I had known earlier, I would have advised you not to reprimand her." Princess Shiyu said with a sigh. The crown prince's face was gloomy. How could that bitch be the divine phoenix emissary? I think there must be a problem. "Your Highness, although I don't really believe it, the imperial tutor has already acknowledged her. You should give in to her in the future. After all, she is already the divine phoenix emissary now." When the crown prince heard Princess Shiyu's words, his expression instantly became even more unsightly. What divine phoenix emissary? I think she is just spouting nonsense. There's also the imperial tutor. He always thinks he is so amazing. Even my father has to obey his every word. I have long wanted to kill him. Princess Shiyu quickly covered the crown prince's mouth with her hand. Your Highness, be careful. If the emperor finds out about this, he will blame you. The crown prince also knew that he had misspoken. He held Princess Shiyu's hand and said, I was also angry for a moment, so I said the wrong thing. When I thought of that slut becoming the divine phoenix emissary, I was furious. Princess Shiyu nodded and said as if it was unintentional, Your Highness, what do you think that slut is doing outside the city? Could it be that the divine phoenix wants her to find some treasure? The crown prince's expression changed. Perhaps it was really like that. Otherwise, that slut wouldn't have refused to let people follow her. The divine phoenix's treasure must be a rare treasure. It might even be a divine weapon. The more the crown prince thought about it, the more excited he became. He said to Princess 11 Shiyu, I'm a little tired. You can go back first. Princess Shiyu nodded obediently. After bowing, she turned around and left the crown prince's residence. Princess Shiyu's eyes were filled with scheming. The crown prince would definitely send people to kill and steal the treasure when he saw money. Yun Chujio, do you think that you can rest easy after becoming the divine phoenix emissary? Stupid. After Princess Shiyu left, the crown prince called his guard commander Liao Xing over. Immediately bring people to ambush outside the city. Once that Yun Chujio comes back, kill her on the spot and hand her storage ring to me. Liao Xing said with difficulty, Your Highness, isn't that Yun Chujio the divine phoenix emissary? Do you really want to kill her? If you don't want to die, just do as I tell you, said the prince with a gloomy face. Liao Xing did not dare to say more. Compared to an illusory divine phoenix emissary, he was still more afraid of the hands of the power of life and death of the crown prince. Immediately, with people hurriedly out of the crown prince's residence, rushed to the city to set up an ambush. At this time, the sky has been completely dark down. Large chunks of Wu Yun began to gather. Wu Yun in the sky saw He Xingjiu riding on a rabbit and almost vomited blood. Damn it. This stinky girl actually pretended to be dead during the day. She actually shamelessly contracted the five-colored phoenix. She was really courting death. The pressure was getting stronger and stronger, and the giant rabbit couldn't take it anymore. He Xingjiu had no choice but to put it into the spirit beast pouch. He Xingjiu looked up at the Wu Yun in the sky. Damn it, it was really unlucky. It was still the same Wu Yun in the day. However, why was this Wu Yun trembling all the time? Could it be because he was very excited to see her again? If Wu Yun knew He Xingjiu's thoughts, he would probably be so angry that he would vomit blood. Fuck, he was angry. Angry. He Xingjiu pondered in her heart. She had already deceived this stupid Yun once. She reckoned that it would not work if she continued to play dead. What should she do? Before this fellow could think of a way, Wu Yun in the sky could not wait to strike her. Boom, boom, boom. The heavenly lightning struck He Xingjiu continuously, as if it wanted to kill her immediately. When He Xingjiu couldn't take it anymore, she had no choice but to release De Hua. When Wu Yun first saw the piglets in the sky, he had a disdainful look on his face. He thought to himself, these weaklings couldn't even take a heavenly lightning strike, how could they be embarrassed to release it? However, when a bolt of lightning struck, those piglets indeed died, but De Hua appeared out of nowhere. Wu Yun was dumbfounded. What the hell is this? Why does this smelly girl have so many strange things in her hands? Even so, Wu Yun did not put De Hua in his eyes. He felt that although this thing was quite big, it could not withstand one bolt of lightning. However, 1, 2, 10 bolts of lightning passed. Although the giant purple pig had become much fainter, it still did not dissipate. Wu Yun was furious. Could it be that its ability had deteriorated? Not only could it not kill a little girl, but it could also not kill a bird, a Xiao Mogu, and a spiritual boar. Finally, another 3 bolts of lightning struck, and De Hua finally dissipated. Wu Yun just couldn't speak, or else he would definitely laugh 3 times. Damn it. That damn giant pig was finally dead. Then Wu Yun discovered that that damned little girl had released a group of spirit power piglets. When it hacked those piglets to death, De Hua lazily appeared once again. Fuck. He couldn't bully Yun like this. They were all one-time use, but this damnable giant purple pig was using it endlessly. It was too fucking angry. Wu Yun could be considered to be competing with De Hua, continuously hacking. Although for the time being He Xingjiu had the upper hand, but this fellow's heart was very worried. Every time she released De Hua, she would consume a lot of spiritual power. If this continued, she would not be able to hold on for long. Moreover, this Wuyun seemed to carry a lot of the power of lightning and she could not withstand it at all. It would be great if there was a place to hide, but where could she hide? It was definitely impossible to return to An City. First of all, there was no divine weapon or place that could withstand the heavenly lightning. Moreover, if people saw her being struck by the heavenly lightning like this, she was afraid that her divine phoenix emissary would not be able to survive. After an hour, the spiritual power in He Xinjia's body was completely exhausted. She could no longer release De Hua. Wu Yun in the sky was very proud. Damn girl, you're so cocky. If you have the ability, then release the pig again. One comes and one dies. At this moment, Wu Yun in the sky saw the little girl call out a Windblade rabbit from the spiritual beast bag? A level 1 Windblade rabbit? Is her brain not working? She had the nerve to take out a level 1 demonic beast. Wu Yun's face was filled with disdain as he struck a bolt of lightning at the rabbit. As expected, he saw the rabbit being hacked into ashes. Wu Yun trembled with pride. Such a weak thing could be hacked to death even with its eyes closed. Just as Wu Yun was showing off, he saw a strange-looking phantom rising from the ground. Its 4 vertical pupils looked as if it had nothing to live for. What the hell was this thing? Meng Yanshou saw the shell that had turned into ashes and once again deeply doubted whether his decision back then was correct. He originally thought that he would be enjoying life with this black-hearted little girl. But in reality he had helped her get struck by lightning countless times. This was simply too much. Wu Yun came back to his senses and shot a bolt of lightning at Meng Yanshou. Meng Yanshou was currently in an extremely bad mood and immediately used Wu Yun as a target to vent his anger. Are you fucking blind? Why did you chop my shell? Shameless thing. If you chop me again, I'll scold you for 8 generations. I've read so many books, but I've never seen anything more despicable than you. Did the little fairy provoke you? Isn't it enough to just chop a few times? You're not going to stop, are you? Shameless. Wu Yun in the sky was dumbfounded by the scolding. He had never been scolded like this before. This damned ugly freak was even more detestable than that wretched girl. Today he had to chop it to death. Rumble. 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 Wu Yun finally mustered all his strength this time and hacked wildly at Meng Yanshou. Meng Yanshou cried out in pain, I owe my head. I owe my butt. I owe my soles. Yun Chujio was upset and could not think of a solution. With its cry, it made her even more upset. She shouted, Curly hair, shut up. Meng Yanshou covered its mouth with its claws. It was holding its anger in. I was struck by lightning for you and you still yelled at me. There was no way to reason with you. If it wasn't for the sake of the script, I would definitely let you scold me. There seemed to be something wrong. It seemed to be the other way around. An hour later, Meng Yanshou couldn't take it anymore. It bared its teeth and was put into the spirit beast bag. Xiao Hanio and Xiao Mogu had already reached their limits during the day. He Xinjiu had no choice but to personally go up and take the lightning strike. This fellow was depressed. This damned heavenly lightning. It would not come when it wanted to strike, but once it came, it would strike her to death. It was simply too damaging. As time passed, Yun Chujio felt as if the meridians in her body were about to explode. She gritted her teeth. If she still could not think of a way, she was afraid that she would die. Wu Yun in the sky was very proud. Stupid girl, there was no one in this towering sky continent who could not be struck to death by heavenly lightning. You are dead for sure today. Yun Chujio felt that her entire body was about to explode. She had no choice but to jump out of the deep pit and run forward. Although she could not avoid being struck by lightning, she could at least have some time to catch her breath. Therefore, He Xinjiu ran in front, followed by a string of purple lightning strikes. Fortunately, no one would come out in such a strange weather. Otherwise, they would be stunned when they saw the situation in front of them. He Xinjiu ran aimlessly. Although she tried her best to think of a way, she still couldn't think of any good ideas. Moreover, her running speed was getting slower and slower. Could it be that she could only wait to be struck to death? Finally, He Xinjiu couldn't run anymore. She sat on the ground and looked up. She couldn't help but be stunned. She actually ran to the Divine Phoenix Valley. Clouds and mist filled the valley entrance of the Divine Phoenix Valley. He Xinjia's heart skipped a beat. Back when she was in the Divine Phoenix Valley, she was not struck by lightning. Perhaps the Divine Phoenix Valley was isolated from heavenly lightning. She hurriedly took the phoenix egg out and said fiercely, Quickly think of a way to let me in. Otherwise when you break through the shell it'll call you little slut. The phoenix egg trembled for a moment. The shell of the egg shimmered, and the fog at the entrance of the Divine Phoenix Valley suddenly disappeared, revealing the entrance of the Divine Phoenix Valley. Hei Shinjo rushed in with the phoenix egg in her arms. Seeing that Heavenly Thunder did not chase after her, she sat down on the ground. Damn. That was close. That was close. Thanks to this precious egg, or else I would have been dead. Hei Shinjo was happy. The dark clouds in the sky were emitting white smoke. She wanted to continue attacking Hei Shinjo, but she could not enter the Divine Phoenix Valley. She could only watch as Hei Shinjo jumped in. Stupid girl. I don't believe that you won't come out. I will definitely kill you today. Hei Shinjo sat cross-legged on the ground and began to comb through the violent lightning energy in her body. During the day she had already broken through to the first level of the illusionary realm. Before she could consolidate her spiritual power, she was struck again, and the spiritual power in her dantian increased greatly. If it were an ordinary person they might have gone mad. Fortunately, Hei Shinjo had been tormented by Guaichao before, so she did not have any inner demons, so she was safe. Yun Chujiu spent a full 4 hours to comb through the power of lightning in her body. Since she had just broken through, she planned to break through again after a period of time so that she could comb through the power of lightning in her dantian more concretely. When the time was right she would break through again. Hei Shinjo glanced at the phoenix egg on the side and then remembered an important problem. It seemed that no one else could see the phoenix egg. Otherwise there would have been demonic beasts coming. Xiao Hanyo pouted and said, "What's so strange about that? The phoenix egg only reveals its aura when it's about to hatch. If it didn't have some life-saving means, it would have been eaten before it hatched." Yun Chujiu thought about it and it was true. When Xiao Hanyo hatched it attracted a lot of people's attention. No one knew about the phoenix egg before. That's not right, Xiaohei. Then why can I see this phoenix egg? When it didn't recognize its master I could see it too. And you and Xiongqi can see it too. Yun Chujiu asked in confusion. We have noble status so we can naturally see it. As for you, master, perhaps it's because of the heavenly lightning spirit root. Xiao Hanyo said with some uncertainty. There were too many mysteries surrounding this black-hearted master. It was impossible to deduce with common sense that she was a pervert. Yun Chujiu didn't ask too much. This fellow felt that it was rare for him to be struck by lightning. Now that he was more or less sorted out, he could go out and be struck again. Therefore, this fellow hugged the phoenix egg and said, "Little baby, open the exit. Master, I'm going out to be struck by lightning." The phoenix egg shone again. Just as Hei Shinjo left the Divine Phoenix Valley, several bolts of heavenly lightning struck down on Hei Shinjo. Hei Shinjo was fine, but she realized later that several bolts of heavenly lightning had struck the phoenix egg in her hands. Hei Xinjia's head buzzed. Was over. The phoenix egg that she had picked up with great difficulty was about to turn into a roasted egg. Just as Hei Shinjo was feeling regretful, she realized that the phoenix egg in her hands trembled. It seemed to be very happy. Just as Hei Shinjo was in a daze, Xiao Hanyo pouted and said, "Master, are you stupid? When I first broke my shell I was struck by many lightning bolts with you. Although this weakling can't be compared to me, she won't die after being struck by a few lightning bolts." Yun Chujiu finally understood. However, she didn't dare to take the risk. If she were to be struck by a few more lightning bolts and turned into roasted eggs, it would be terrible. Therefore she quickly put away the phoenix eggs. Now that Hei Shinjo had the Divine Phoenix Valley, she suddenly felt more confident. This guy was so cocky that he could shine with just a little sunshine. Hey, you idiot in the sky, listen up. If you don't want to embarrass yourself, get out of here. Otherwise, I will scold you until you can't even find the north. I have never seen such a stupid Yun. During the day I played a trick on you but you were fooled. How can you be so stupid? You are not the stupidest among all the Wu Yun, are you? Why are you trembling? Did you do something wrong that made you feel guilty? The dark clouds in the sky were twitching in anger. How could such a pervert appear in the sky-high continent? No matter what, she had to be struck to death today. The dark clouds kept striking at her violently. Hei Shinjo was confident now. She even roasted a few spiritual potatoes in a good mood and ate them while being struck by lightning. Wu Yun was so angry that he almost fainted. He had never seen a human who looked down on lightning like this. This guy was not human at all. Wu Yun hacked for a whole night. Not only did he not kill Hei Shinjo, he was even more active. Wu Yun was so angry that he burst into tears. It was raining cats and dogs. No one bullied Yun like this. This pervert was too angry. Wu, just you wait. I'll go back and find help. If I can't kill you, I'm not Yun. Wu Yun floated away while trembling. Hei Xinjiu pursed her lips and adjusted the power of lightning in her body. Only then did she summon the giant rabbit and return to An City. Since Wu Yun had already floated away, the sky soon cleared up. A rainbow even appeared in the sky. Hei Xinjiu sighed in her heart. In the past, she had heard that after the storm, there would be a rainbow, but she did not feel anything. Now that she looked at the rainbow, she felt a sense of happiness as if she had just escaped death. Yun Chujia's body suddenly flashed with a dazzling light. She had actually broken through because of an epiphany. Hei Xinjiu, P.N.D. and OV1 she clearly wanted to break through slowly. She had clearly suppressed her spiritual energy, but she had broken through to the third level of the illusionary realm just like that. Was it really good? Hei Xinjiu thought for a moment. It was good to increase the level of her spiritual power. This would also prove her mysterious identity as the emissary of the divine phoenix. Therefore, she adjusted the hidden spirit ring to the first level of spirit illusion. Liao Sheng, who was lying in ambush not far away, and the guards of the crown prince's residence watched the little girl riding the rabbit, staring at the rainbow in the sky, and suddenly had an epiphany. She had broken through? She had broken through. And she had broken through 2 levels at once? Liao Sheng had never wanted to kill Yun Chujio in the first place. After all, she was the messenger of the divine phoenix. Now that he saw the situation, he was even more anxious to retreat. He took out the voice transmission talisman and told the crown prince about Yun Chujio's epiphany. He did not expect the crown prince's tone to be even more ruthless. Kill her or else you won't have to come back. Liao Sheng had no choice but to make a gesture to everyone. Once Yun Chujio entered the ambush, he would immediately kill her. Liao Sheng saw that Yun Chujio was about to enter their ambush, but he realized that the big rabbit had stopped moving. Hei Xinjiu jumped down from the big rabbit and pointed at the rainbow in the sky. Dezhuang, look at this rainbow. It's so special. There are 7 colors. Liao Sheng and the rest, who were hiding in the dark, twitched their eyes. Wasn't that obvious? Of course, the rainbow had 7 colors. Dezhuang, look. The rainbow is curved like a bridge. Liao Sheng and the others were already at their wits' end. It was like a wooden stake. Dezhuang, I've been saying nice things to you. You have to experience it properly. That's how I had an epiphany just now. Be more serious. Liao Sheng and the others were shocked. Ah, so she was giving her spiritual pet an epiphany? So she was staring at the rainbow in the sky? Everyone's faces were filled with excitement. Oh God, an epiphany was a rare opportunity. They couldn't waste such an opportunity. Thus, Liao Sheng and the rest raised their heads to look at the rainbow in the sky. TSK, not to mention they had never looked at it in detail before. From this point of view, the rainbow was quite beautiful. However, although it was quite beautiful, there was nothing special about it. At this moment they heard Yun Chujio say, Dezhuang, you have to close your eyes and feel it. You have to calm down and focus your mind. Slowly you will be able to gain some enlightenment. Liao Sheng and the rest subconsciously closed their eyes as well. Their minds were filled with a curved rainbow. Just as they were fully focused on comprehending it, they felt a gust of wind pass by. An ominous premonition immediately rose in their hearts. They hurriedly opened their eyes and saw Yun Chujio riding on a giant rabbit and running far away. Damn it! They had been tricked. They had been tricked. Liao Sheng stomped his feet. What are you waiting for? Chase after her. If she returns to An City alive, we will be dead for sure. Hei Xinjiu saw that Liao Sheng and the others were moving very fast, so she simply kept the giant rabbit and ran forward with all her might. Liao Sheng and the others were gnashing their teeth in anger. They had been tricked just like that. It was a great humiliation. It was really strange. How did Yun Chujio discover them? And how did she run so fast? Seeing that Yun Chujio was getting farther and farther away from them, Liao Sheng's heart sank. Oh no. It seemed that he couldn't catch up with her. He would inevitably be punished when he went back. At this moment, another group of masked men appeared in front of Hei Xinjiu. Hei Xinjiu's footsteps came to an abrupt halt. This fellow's heart was like a baying dog. He did not know if these 2 groups of people were in cahoots. Who exactly wanted to kill her? Yun Chujio simply did not run away. Damn it, Xiao Hei could now use the Nirvana fire. At worst, he could burn all these people to death, leaving none alive. The little black bird in the spirit beast bag shivered. Did Master Xiao Hanio misunderstand something? It could use the nirvana fire, but there were dozens of people in total. It could not be burned to death even if it vomited blood. Liao Xing was also very puzzled. Who were the people in front? Could it be that the crown prince sent another group of people? But no matter who they were, as long as everyone had the same goal, it did not matter. Everyone looked at the calm and composed He Xingjiu. She was surrounded by so many people, but there was not a trace of nervousness on her face. Could it be that she had a trump card? Yun Chujiu chuckled and said, "Although I am the divine phoenix emissary, you don't have to come here to visit me, right? I appreciate your kindness. Move aside, I want to go home for dinner." Whether it was Liao Sheng and the others or the people in front of them, they were all dumbfounded. This Yun Chujiu was too shameless. The masked man in the front said coldly, "Yun Chujiu, don't flatter yourself. You're dead today. Go. Kill her." "Wait. Aren't you afraid of being punished by the divine phoenix if you kill me?" He Xingjiu straightened her back and said arrogantly. The masked men obviously paused for a moment, but they still rushed toward He Xingjiu. At the same time, Liao Xing waved his hand, and the people from the crown prince's mansion also rushed towards He Xingjiu. He Xingjiu had no choice but to activate the jade pendant that the old prince gave her. Her body immediately shone with light. He Xingjiu thought to herself, "This jade pendant that grandfather gave her looks pretty good." Just as He Xingjiu was about to release De Hua, she heard someone shouting in the distance, "Stop! Who are you people?" He Xingjiu stretched her neck and took a look. In her heart, she immediately raised Yun Zikin's status by a few levels. "My good fifth brother. You came at just the right time." Behind Yun Zichen, there were over 100 imperial guards from the Yun mansion. They quickly rushed to the front of the crowd. Liao Sheng was the first to run away with his men. When the people blocking the way saw that the situation was not right, they also fled in panic. Yun Chujiu put her hands on her hips and shouted at the back of those people, "Today is your lucky day. I let you live. If my fifth brother didn't come, I would have killed you." Yun Zichen, "Little Jiu, can we not pretend like this? If he didn't come, I'm afraid the one who would die wouldn't be them, but you, right?" He Xingjiu turned around and said with a smile, "Fifth brother, why are you here?" "Grandfather was worried about you, so he asked me to bring some people here to take a look." Yun Chujiu thought that the old man had a conscience and a brain. If she sent Yun Jifeng here, he would probably join the two groups to kill her. "Fifth brother, let's go home." He Xingjiu rode on the giant rabbit and said with a smile. Yun Chujiu didn't ask Yun Zichen to send people to chase after those people. They wouldn't be able to catch up to her. Those people were the only ones who wanted her life. There was no need to investigate. Yun Zichen nodded and then said in surprise, "Little Jiu, you broke through? And you broke through 2 levels?" Yun Chujiu said with a very calm expression, "Yes, I didn't want to break through either, but I stared at the rainbow in the sky and had an epiphany. Don't you think it's infuriating?" Yun Zichen, "Can't you just stop pretending?" However, this 9th sister was really lucky. Not only did she get the favor of the divine phoenix, but she also had the opportunity to have an epiphany. It was indeed quite infuriating. Speaking of which, staring at the rainbow was enough to have an epiphany? Why don't he give it a try? Yun Zichen rode on his wildebeest and stared at the rainbow in the sky. His eyes were sore, but he didn't have any reaction. It seemed that not everyone could have this opportunity. Everyone entered in city and soon arrived at the imperial residence of King Yun. As soon as they reached the door, Yun Chujiu felt that something was not right. Why were there so many people gathered outside the imperial residence of King Yun? What was going on? When the onlookers saw Yun Chujiu, they fawningly said, "Congratulations, 9th young miss. Congratulations, 9th young miss. The emperor has bestowed you with a marriage to the 5th prince. This is really a joyous occasion." 2 words flashed through Yun Chujiu's mind. Fuck. Did that old man, Martial Emperor Xingwu, have nothing better to do? He actually gave her a marriage? "Give your grandmother my foot." He Xingjiu entered the Yun mansion with a dumbfounded look. Ji-mama came up to her and said, "9th miss, the old princess asked you to go to the living room." "Well, the 5th prince is here too." When Yun Chujiu heard what Ji-mama said, she immediately understood why Emperor Xingwu had given her the marriage. It was most likely the 5th prince's doing. Yun Chujiu had just entered the living room when she received many envious and jealous gazes. The old princess consort was really happy for her. She smiled and said, "Little Jiu, you came back just in time. The emperor has just issued an edict to give you and the fifth prince the marriage. The wedding date will be set 3 months later on the 16th of October. The fifth prince looked at Yun Chujio with a smile. He felt that although Yun Chujio had previously rejected him in every possible way, now that the imperial edict had been issued, there was no room for her to reject him. Yun Chujio sighed slightly. Grandmother, I'll tell you the truth. One of the conditions for me to become the divine phoenix emissary is that I can't get married for the rest of my life, so I can only give up on this marriage. Hei Shinjio did not even bother to draft out her lies. Anyway, after Di Biming came out, she did not plan to stay in the Yun family anymore. Whatever bullshit divine phoenix emissary, she could be whoever she wanted to be. The old consort stood up in shock. What? Never get married for the rest of her life? Why would the divine phoenix propose such a condition? The rest of the people also looked at Yun Chujio suspiciously. That's right, why would the divine phoenix propose such a condition? Yun Chujio spread her hands. I don't know either. Maybe the divine phoenix has always been single, so it doesn't like to see others in pairs. I didn't dare to disobey the divine phoenix's orders, so I could only swear a poison oath in front of it. If I disobeyed it, I would be struck by lightning and die a horrible death. The old princess sat on the chair dejectedly. The oath was easy to say. After all, it was not a blood oath, but the divine phoenix's orders could not be disobeyed. If the divine phoenix was blamed, then it would be the destruction of her family. Pandian 0ve1 cm. The gazes of Yun Shiluo and the others immediately turned into gloating. Initially, they were envious and jealous that this country bumpkin could marry the fifth prince, but they did not expect her to be an old lady for the rest of her life. How pitiful. The fifth prince's expression instantly darkened. He did not know whether this was really the divine phoenix's orders or Yun Chujio's excuse of not wanting to marry him. The fifth prince gritted his teeth. Since she said so, then he would see if she would marry someone in the future. If she was lying, he would not forgive her. The old prince saw that the fifth prince's expression was very ugly, so he could only smooth things over. Your Highness, this is something that cannot be helped. Later, I will personally meet the emperor and tell him the reason for this matter. The fifth prince took a deep breath and then said, It's all right. Let's just do as the divine phoenix says. I still have other matters to attend to, so I'll take my leave now. You'll have to trouble Miss Jio to come out for a moment. I have something to say to you. Yun Chujio was 100 times unwilling, but she could not refuse, so she followed the fifth prince out of the reception hall. The fifth prince looked at her with deep affection, then he said, Miss Jio, although the divine phoenix forbade you from getting married, it did not forbid you from dating a man. How about this? We can get along normally in the future. At worst, I won't take a wife in the future, and my position as the first wife will always be vacant for you. Yun Chujio, what he said was really touching. The first wife will always be vacant for her? So it meant that she could take in any concubine she wanted? Yun Chujio said indifferently, Fifth Prince, I appreciate your kindness. Forgive me for not being able to accept your kindness. As the divine phoenix emissary, I want to be pure-hearted, have few desires, so you'd better find another good marriage. The fifth prince's expression was a little ugly, but he still said, Ninth Miss, you might not be in a good mood today. We'll talk more in the future. Goodbye. Yun Chujio looked at the fifth prince's back and really wanted to shout angrily, What the hell do you like about me? Can't I just change it? Yun Chujio returned to the living room with her head drooping, but everyone mistakenly thought that she was acting like this because she had missed the engagement with the fifth prince. They couldn't help but gloat over her misfortune. The old princess consort thought the same and felt her heart ache. She said, Little Jio, don't be too sad. Maybe the divine phoenix will change her mind. By the way, you've been back for a while. 3 days later, the Yun family will be paying respects to our ancestors. It's a good time to put your name on the Yun family tree. Seeing that everyone had misunderstood her, Yun Chujio decided to make the best of it so that there wouldn't be any more trouble. She said gloomily, Grandma, I got it. Seeing her gloominess, the old princess consort didn't ask any more questions and dismissed everyone. When Hei Shinjio returned to the courtyard, she was suddenly full of energy. Shi Hua and Shi Shui helped her wash up, and she lay on the bed to catch up on her sleep. She slept until the evening. After dinner, she remembered the family tree and asked the two handmaidens, Grandmother said that she will give me the family tree in 3 days. She also wants to pay respects to the ancestors. Is she going to the ancestral hall? Miss Jiao, paying respects to the ancestors is to go to the ancestral mausoleum of Mount Fuyun. Not only are the people from the direct branch going, but the people from the other branches are also going. I was lucky enough to go once. It was a very grand occasion, Xihua said. Yun Chujia's eyes turned cold when she heard about Mount Fuyun. There was still no news of her mother. She did not know if she had been rescued or kidnapped. She was a little smug just now. She was really dizzy. She knew nothing about her mother. Yun Fengjian and Jing Shi wanted to kill her. The crown prince also wanted her life. The fifth prince kept pestering her. What right did she have to be smug? Thinking of this, Yun Chujio turned around and went back to her room to meditate and cultivate. 3 days later, all the members of the Yun family wore plain clothes and rushed to the Yun family's ancestral mausoleum on Mount Fanyun. Yun Chujia's state of mind this time was completely different from the last time she came. The last time was when she was excited and nervous to see her mother, but this time she was full of anger and hatred toward Yun Fengjian and Jing Shi. The Yun family passed through the dense forest and arrived near the Yun family's ancestral mausoleum. Some elders in the family clan began to host the ancestral worship ceremony. He Xinjiu was like a puppet as she followed the crowd to worship. After the complicated ceremony that was finally over, He Xinjiu started the ceremony to register her family tree. He Xinjiu could not help but ridicule in her heart. Normally the family tree should be in the ancestral hall? Why did the Yun family come to the ancestral mausoleum? It was really strange. Pan Dian 0ve1 cm. Even though she grumbled, He Xinjiu still cooperated and completed the ceremony. After the ceremony, the sky darkened, so the Yun family went to the manor not far from the ancestral mausoleum to rest. Only then did Yun Chujio know that there was another manor here. It lived in the side branch of the Yun family. On one hand it guarded the mausoleum and on the other hand it cultivated a large area of land. Yun Chujio remembered that Zhang Mama had been sent to the manor. She did not know if it was this manor, so she asked Yun Shilian in a low voice, "Eighth sister, was Zhang Mama sent to this manor?" Yun Shilian lowered her voice and said, "How could Zhang Mama, that old slave, be in this manor? I heard that this branch of the mausoleum guard is from the ancestors. It doesn't usually have much contact with our Yun mansion." Yun Chujia's heart slightly moved. An ancestral one? This matter was indescribably strange. Which family would only have a branch that guards the mausoleum? The manor was only a dozen miles away from the Yun family ancestral mausoleum. Everyone soon arrived at the manor. The men, women, and children in the manor were all very enthusiastic. Moreover, they didn't have any inferiority complex or fawning behavior just because of the high status of the Yun family. It made people feel very comfortable. A middle-aged man who was about the same age as Yun Fengjian first bowed and then said apologetically, "Patriarch, my father is in closed-door cultivation recently, so he didn't come to welcome everyone. I'm really sorry." The old duke said gently, "It's all right. We are only staying here for one night. There's no need to go to too much trouble." Yun Fengde, who was also the middle-aged man, exchanged a few more pleasantries and then arranged for everyone to rest in the guest house in the manor. Yun Chujio looked around and could see that this courtyard had been there before. It should be specially prepared for the Yun family members who were paying respects to their ancestors. Although the courtyard was not as luxurious as the Yun mansion, it was considered pretty good in a manner. The food at night was also very delicious. It was all spiritual rice and vegetables produced by the manor itself. He Xinjiu ate until her mouth was full of oil. She felt that it was not bad to stay in this manor for a while. Today happened to be the Mid-Autumn Festival, which was the 15th of July. The full moon hung in the sky and it was very quiet and peaceful. He Xinjiu and Yun Shilian were in the same room. The two of them talked for a while and then went to rest. After a long day, He Xinjiu quickly fell asleep in a daze. In the middle of the night, Yun Chujio suddenly sat up. Her eyes were empty and at a loss. She walked out of the room like a ghost. Her figure was as fast as a phantom, even though there were people patrolling the manor, but no one noticed that she had left the manor. Yun Chujio sped all the way and soon arrived at the Yun family's ancestral mausoleum. At this moment, the Yun family's ancestral mausoleum was under the moonlight. It was indescribably strange. Yun Chujio walked all the way to the middle of the ancestral mausoleum. Suddenly she felt a pain in her dantian. Yun Chujio's eyes became clear. When she saw the situation in front of her, she almost cried out in shock. She remembered that she had been sleeping on the bed. How did she end up in the ancestral mausoleum? She did not have a hobby of digging, burying, and burying. Moreover, even if she dug, she could not dig her own house. When she remembered that today was the 15th of July, she suddenly felt her hair stand on end. She did not know whether it was psychological or not, but Hei Shinjio only felt a gust of cold wind. This guy put his hands together and bowed. Ancestors, as the saying goes, a rabbit does not eat grass near its nest, but a tiger does not eat its child. I am your biological descendant. You can't cook beans and smoke them and the beans cry in the pot, Hei Shinjio muttered as she ran towards the manor. Damn it, even if she thought with her toes, this matter was not right. Only a fool would stay here and not leave. When Hei Shinjio arrived at the manor, she was immediately discovered by the patrolling Zhuang Ding and the imperial guards of King Yun's mansion. Everyone was very puzzled. How did this ninth miss come in from outside the manor? Yun Chujio said a few words vaguely. Those people thought that this ninth miss was the divine phoenix emissary, so it was normal for her to appear and disappear like a ghost, so they did not ask further. Yun Chujio returned to her room. The more she thought about it, the more strange she felt. She would never come to this lousy place again. This fellow did not sleep well the whole night. He was afraid that he would go to the ancestral mausoleum for another day, so he kept staring at it until dawn. Pan Dian 0ve1 cm the next day after breakfast, everyone left the village. Yun Chujio did not know if it was an illusion, but she kept feeling that the way Yun Fengde looked at her was not quite the same as the day before. However, she could not tell what kind of gaze it was. Yun Chujio felt that the Yun family's ancestral tomb was even more strange. She wished that she would never come here again. After Yun Chujio returned to the Yun mansion, other than going to the old prince and the old princess place to build a good impression of her, she would cultivate in her room obediently. Unexpectedly, the fifth prince would come to court her every 2 or 3 days. Yun Chujio was simply annoyed. It just so happened that he was a prince. The Yun mansion could not stop him from entering. Yun Chujio had no choice but to announce that she was going into closed-door cultivation and would not see any guests. Only then did the fifth prince calm down a little. However, he still sent over many things from time to time. In an instant, the entire East Phoenix country knew that the fifth prince had a special liking for Yun Chujio. Hei Shinjio instantly became the object of envy and hatred for many women. Everyone sighed with emotion. Even though the fifth prince knew that Yun Chujio could not get married, he still treated her so well. What was the reason? It was because of love. Such a loving man was simply hard to find in this world. After Yun Chujio heard the rumors from Xihua, she could not help but scoff. A loving man? The fifth prince only coveted her identity as the divine phoenix emissary and the Yun family army. Thinking of the Yun family army, Yun Chujio then remembered that the Su Lian arranged for Yun Fengjian was about to succeed. Once she obtained the tiger talisman, her grandfather would ask the imperial edict to remove Yun Fengjian's title as the king of Yun. At that time, she would at least be temporarily safe in the king of Yun's mansion. However, before that, she should let Yun Jifeng cause some trouble. Otherwise, it would not be good if the Saint Martial Emperor allowed him to inherit the king of Yun. Yun Chujio asked Yun Jichen to tell her thoughts, and Yun Jichen naturally agreed without hesitation. Only when Yun Jifeng was stripped of his title as the crown prince would he have a chance to become the crown prince, or even the king of Yun. Within a few days, Yun Jifeng had made a fool of himself because he was competing with someone for the top position of a furnace, a cauldron, and a pavilion. Yun Fengjian was so angry that he gave him a good beating. Just as Yun Chujio was feeling proud that everything was going according to her plan, something big happened in the East Phoenix country. Martial Emperor Xingwu had died suddenly. Soon after, the news spread that the fifth prince was the murderer. Then, the news that the crown prince had killed the fifth prince and ascended to the throne was announced. He was given the title of Martial Emperor 1. It happened so suddenly that Hei Shinjio did not have time to react. By the time she did, there was no turning back. After Martial Emperor Wen ascended to the throne, he immediately issued a decree to confer Princess Xiyu the title of Empress and to marry her in half a month. Yun Chujio immediately felt the seriousness of the situation. Lung Tianche became the emperor, and Princess Xiyu became the empress. The Zheng Shi and Yun Fengjian would be even more powerful, not to mention that the civil and martial emperor hated her to the bone. If it weren't for the divine phoenix emissary as a protective talisman, the civil and martial emperor would have issued a decree to kill her long ago. Yun Chujio was puzzled. What exactly happened? She naturally did not believe that the fifth prince would commit patricide. It was highly likely that Lung Tianche had orchestrated it himself. However, Lung Tianche was hot-tempered. How could he be so scheming and ruthless? Who was the one who gave him the idea? Following Princess Shiyu's wedding, the status of the old duke and the old consort in the Yun mansion plummeted. Zheng Shi and Yun Fengjian could not even be bothered to put on a show. Yun Chujiu felt that if this continued, Emperor Wenwu and Yun Fengjian would probably make a move against her. She had to turn the passive into the active. Yun Chujiu found Yun Jichen. Yun Jichen sighed again and again. Little Jiu, things happened too suddenly. I think we should cancel our plan. The current emperor is not like the previous emperor. Even if grandfather obtained the tiger talisman, the emperor will not strip away the title of first uncle. If things go wrong, he might even punish grandfather. Yun Chujiu frowned. Fifth brother, why did Lung Tianche suddenly make a move? Logically speaking, he doesn't have such courage and ruthlessness. Yun Jichen shook his head. I'm also very puzzled. Previously, our progress was very smooth, but almost overnight the matter was completely overturned. Sigh, time and fate, little Jiu, you should seek your own fortune. Yun Chujiu could not help but laugh coldly. Fifth brother, do you think that I'm the only one who wants to seek my own fortune? Third aunt has always been on bad terms with the Zheng Shi. Once the civil and martial emperor has a firm foothold, not to mention the three of you, even the Prince Ping's estate would probably not be able to escape. The expression on Yun Zichen's face changed from helplessness to shock and panic. He did not doubt the possibility that Yun Chujiu had mentioned. The new emperor had to find a target to establish his power. Prince Ping's residence was undoubtedly a good choice. It was famous and did not have the protection of the Yun family army. It was perfect for establishing his power. Yun Zichen's body was immediately drenched in cold sweat. He had originally thought that he would be able to keep his life if he kept quiet. Now it seemed that he was too naive. Yun Chujiu didn't say anything all this while. She just chewed on the spirit fruit in her hand. Yun Jichen gritted his teeth. Little Jiu, what do you want to do? Naturally, I want to replace you. It'll help you take the throne. Don't worry, I'm not interested in the throne. I'm helping myself by helping you. I just want to live freely. I hate the feeling of powerlessness when I'm restricted by others. Yun Jichen laughed bitterly. Little Jiu, let's not talk about whether the throne is the throne or not. We're completely in a passive position now. How can we replace him? Yun Chujiu curled the corners of her lips and whispered a few words to Yun Jichen. The expression on Yun Zichen's face gradually changed from suspicion to shock. Little Jiu, although the method you mentioned sounds good, don't forget that there's another person who might ruin our plan. Are you talking about the imperial tutor? Since he had not expressed his opinion on such a big matter like Martial Emperor Shenghui's death, it was clear that he was not prepared to get involved in this muddy water. After all, he has the Li Hate Palace behind him. No one who becomes the emperor would dare to provoke him. Yun Chujiu said with a faint smile. She only found out recently that no wonder the imperial tutor was so awesome. No wonder the emperor did not dare to do anything to him. It turned out that the imperial tutor was a member of the Li Hate Palace. Speaking of the Li Hen Palace, it was said that it was an extremely awesome force. Compared to the Li Hen Palace, the strength of the East Phoenix Kingdom was like the sun and candlelight. There was no comparison at all. Yun Chujiu had a vague idea in her heart. The imperial tutor that the Li Hen Palace had sent to the four countries was like an imperial envoy. He was above all the nobles and could control the four countries at any time. Moreover, it was the kind of control that could be brainwashed. He was really powerful. Yun Jichen nodded. Little Jiu, since that's the case, let's move separately. Okay. After Yun Jichen left, Yun Chujiu hopped into the old prince's study. The old prince had aged quite a bit recently. It was obvious that it was because of the recent changes. The old prince saw Yun Chujiu and smiled. Little Jiu, didn't you just come here this morning? Why are you here again? Yun Chujiu sighed faintly. Grandfather, I've always wanted to say something to you, but I didn't know how to say it. After thinking about it, it's better for me to say it. The old duke frowned. If you have something to say, just say it. What do you want to say? Grandfather, our Yun family is going to be finished. Perhaps even our ancestral grave will be dug up. Yun Chujiu said with a sorrowful expression. The old duke stood up immediately and his body could not help but tremble. You, what nonsense are you spouting? Yun Chujiu touched her nose guiltily and quickly said, Grandfather, don't be so agitated. Let's talk after we sit down. Let's talk after we sit down. The old duke slapped the desk. Little Gio, it's fine if you usually mess around, but if you don't explain it clearly today, I won't forgive you. Yun Chujio smiled embarrassedly. Grandfather, I'm usually very obedient. When did I mess around? You didn't mess around? You didn't mess around. Who stole the mandarin fish in your grandmother's courtyard? You didn't mess around. The flowers in the backyard were all eaten by your rabbits? And, every time the old Royal Highness said this, Hei Xinjia's face stiffened. She laughed and said, Grandfather, let's not talk about this trivial matter. Let's get down to business. The old Royal Highness glared at her fiercely. Trivial matter? It was clearly something that happened in the past month. Who knew who this little Gio's personality was following? She was too jumpy. Grandfather, what I said just now was not alarmist. This was the result of my careful consideration. Don't think that our Yun family can be said to be like boiling oil in a raging fire. It was extremely popular for a moment, but in fact, it was just a flash in the pan. Whether it was the late emperor or the current civil and martial emperor, they were determined to get the Yun family army. Our Yun imperial residence was a thorn in the emperor's flesh. It was better in the past. After all, you are wise and wise. Even if the late emperor tried to play tricks, you could easily resolve it. Yun Chujio stole a glance at the old duke when she said this. She saw that his expression had eased up a little. This fellow thought to himself, as expected, one must put on 1,000 layers of clothing and never put on a flattering act. When it was time to flatter, one must still flatter. Yun Chujio continued, but it's different now. The Yun family's army has fallen into uncle's hands. Sooner or later, it will be handed over to cousin Jifeng. You know cousin Jifeng's character and ability. Can be said that it's a long story. When that time comes, coupled with sister Shiyu's support, the Yun family's army will most likely be in the hands of the new emperor. When that time comes, do you think that he will tolerate the Yun residents remaining in the world? When that time comes, if he were to casually accuse the Yun family of treason, not a single member of the Yun family would be able to survive. The Yun family's ancestral mausoleum might not even be preserved. This is to say that in the long run, to say that in the short run, you are aware of the character of first uncle and first aunt. Right now, nothing has happened yet, and they have already treated you and grandmother this way. If in the future their wings grow strong, or to put it bluntly, if you two left, how would the other branches of the Yun family fare well? Without the new emperor making a move, more than half of our Yun family would be destroyed by them. At that time, not only would our Yun mansion fall apart, but our reputation would also be tarnished. Do you think you are worthy of the ancestors of the Yun family? The old duke's expression became more and more unsightly. Finally he slapped the desk. Impudent. What nonsense. Yun Chujio sighed. Grandfather, my words are indeed a little harsh, but please think carefully about whether what I said is right or not. There will always be trouble in the future. If you still don't do anything, our Yun family will really be finished. The old duke was so angry that he was twitching. You just said finished, but you had to say finished. You were definitely sincere. The old Royal Highness was angry, but he knew that Yun Chujio was right. He could not sleep these days, and the future of the Yun family was indeed bleak. Every time at this time the old Royal Highness would think of Yun Fengjin, whose whereabouts were unknown. If Fengjin was still here, there would not be so much trouble. The old duke thought about it and sighed. If your father was still around, how would there be such a predicament? PNDNOV1 Yun Chujio blinked her eyes. Grandfather, even though my father isn't around, don't I still have me? The old duke glared at her. What else can you do apart from causing trouble? Yun Chujio, she had clearly restrained herself a lot, all right? If it was according to her usual temperament, would the Yun mansion still be so quiet? Grandfather, I have a way to completely solve this predicament. Do you want to hear it? The old Royal Highness looked at Yun Chujio with a very untrusting gaze. Speak. Yun Chujio kissed her own plan and then looked at the old Royal Highness calmly. The old prince did not say anything for a long time. He had always thought that Yun Chujio was a silly and sweet person. After hearing what Yun Chujio just said, he was suddenly unable to react. This was not a silly and sweet little sheep. This was clearly a little fox, and it was the kind of nine-tailed little fox. The old prince was silent for a long time, and then said, What do you think the chances of winning are? Of course it's 100%. Either we don't do it or we must succeed. Don't forget, I'm the messenger of the Divine Phoenix. The Divine Phoenix will look after us. Yun Chujio lied with her eyes wide open. The old prince didn't know that this guy's bad attributes, so he immediately believed it. He said in a deep voice, "Okay. If you can get the tiger talisman, then leave the rest to me. But once the matter is done, you have to leave the lives of your uncle's family. Of course, although they are not kind, I cannot be unrighteous. Unless they stubbornly resist, I will not kill them," Yun Chujio said with confidence. The old prince did not know that this guy was playing with words. He nodded with gratification. "You are a very kind child. Since that's the case, you can make the arrangements." Yun Chujio turned around and left the study with a smile. Her eyes were cold. Yun Fengjian coveted her mother. Zheng Shi and Princess Shiyu wanted to harm her and her mother's lives. Yun Jifeng was in cahoots with them. Was she going to let them celebrate the new year? If she killed them, so be it. When the time came, she could just find an excuse. As for whether the old prince and the old princess would be happy or not, it was not within her consideration. Before Yun Chujio reached her own courtyard, she heard the screams of Shi Hua and Shi Shui coming from inside the courtyard. Yun Chujio's heart sank. She quickened her pace and entered the courtyard. She saw Shi Hua and Shi Shui being pressed to the ground by someone and being punished with a cane. Nanny's son, who was beside Zheng Shi, said with a vicious face, "You two little bitches who are betraying the family. The consort asked you to go, but you dare not go. I think you are courting death." Yun Chujio jumped over and kicked Granny's son away. Then she stared at the stunned servants with a cold gaze. Get lost. Although those servants were relying on Zheng Shi's power, they were still a little timid when they thought of Yun Chujio's identity as a divine phoenix messenger. Otherwise, they would not have taken advantage of Yun Chujio's absence to deal with Shi Hua and Shi Shui. Granny's son got up, rubbed her waist and left with her people with hatred. Yun Chujio looked at Shi Hua and Shi Shui, who were seriously injured, and her eyes were cold. Zheng Shi's actions were obviously to test her, and they would attack her very soon. She had to act quickly. 3 days later, Yun Jichen received Yun Fengjian's tiger talisman. Yun Chujio immediately brought the tiger talisman to the old duke. That night, the old duke brought He Xinjiu out of the Yun residence and headed straight for the city gate. Although An City had troops guarding the city, Yun Jichen had already arranged for them to arrive at the Yun family's army base. Although the old duke had given the tiger talisman to Yun Fengjian for a few years, most of the generals of the Yun family army were promoted by Yun Chujio's father, Yun Fengjin. Therefore the old duke did not spend much effort to control the Yun family army. He Xinjiu had people kill all of Yun Fengjian's trusted aides. The old duke was really shocked by Yun Chujio's behavior. However, thinking that there was no benefit in being a woman, he let her be. The old duke led the Yun family army directly into An City and headed straight for the imperial palace. Just as he arrived at the entrance of the imperial palace, he met Yun Fengjian, who was leading the royal guards. Yun Fengjian received a letter from his trusted aide, and only then did he realize that his tiger talisman had been swapped. One could imagine the grievance in his heart. Yun Fengjian's face was gloomy as he said, "Father, what are you doing? Are you planning to rebel?" Yun Chujio sneered and said, "Uncle, I'm following the orders of the divine phoenix. Lung Tianche killed his father and killed his brother. He was not fit to be the emperor of our East Phoenix kingdom. Therefore we have to uphold justice for the heavens and uphold justice. Surrender now. For the sake of our relatives, I'll spare your life." Yun Fengjian stared at Yun Chujio coldly and said, "So you're the one who instigated this. I shouldn't have brought you back in the first place. Father, our Yun family has always been a loyal family. Are you really going to rebel?" The old prince sighed. "Beast, do you really need me to say what you have done? Moreover, this is the decree of the divine phoenix. Being loyal to the monarch is important, but the decree of the divine phoenix is more important. Surrender." Yun Fengjian laughed sinisterly. "Father, you forced me to do this. Bring them up." Following Yun Fengjian's words, the old princess consort and the other members of the Yun family were brought up. "Father, if you insist on doing this, don't blame me for being impolite. Even if I die, I will let these people die with me." The old royal highness was so angry that he almost vomited blood. He trembled and said, "Beast? Beast. You are simply inhuman." Yun Fengjian sneered and said, "This is all because you forced me. I have no choice. In order to be loyal to the emperor, I can only use this method. You hand over the tiger talisman immediately or else I will start a massacre." The people of the Yun family were all trembling. They had already begged Yun Fengjian, Zheng Shi, and the others, so it was naturally useless. At this moment they all looked at the old duke with pleading faces. The old duke was angry and anxious. He didn't know what to do for a moment. Yun Chujio clapped her hands. Yun Jifeng was thrown to the ground like a dead dog. Yun Chujio smiled and said, "Uncle, I advise you to surrender. Otherwise I will kill cousin Jifeng." Yun Fengjian gritted his teeth. His son could be born again without him. He knew that if he surrendered, he would not have a good ending, so he gritted his teeth and said, "Bitch. If I dare to kill Jifeng, I will kill all the people behind me." "They'll give you the same words. If you kill those people behind you, I will kill Yun Jifeng," Yun Chujio said with a cold smile. Who would not know how to threaten people? For a moment, the two sides were in a stalemate. After 15 minutes, a trace of ruthlessness flashed across Yun Fengjian's face. "Father, if you still don't hand over the tiger talisman, I'm going to make my move." At this moment, chaos broke out behind Yun Fengjian. It turned out that Yun Jichen had already arranged for people to sneak into the imperial palace. It was just that he didn't find a suitable opportunity to save people at the moment. Yun Chujio waved her hand. "Go. Kill them all. Leave no one alive." The Yun family soldiers were supposed to only listen to the old lord's orders, but they all rushed forward at this moment because He Xinjiu was holding a tiger talisman in her hand. The old prince was thinking about the old consort and the others, so he naturally did not pay attention to these things. Taking advantage of the chaotic situation, he hurriedly leaped towards the Yun family members. Yun Chujio looked at Yun Jifeng on the ground and killed him with a kitchen knife. It was a waste of food for such a thing to live. The battle was abnormally short. After all, the Yun family army had more than 100,000 people, while the imperial guards of the imperial palace only had a few thousand people. They were not on the same level at all. There were other military areas in the East Phoenix Kingdom, but firstly, it was beyond their reach. Secondly, they did not dare to fight the Yun family army head-on. Therefore, the battle ended when the sky was just beginning to brighten. He Xinjiu naturally would not spare the lives of Yun Fengjian and Zheng Shi. This fellow told the old duke and the old princess that the two of them were killed in the chaotic battle. The old duke and the old princess' hearts were completely chilled after this night, so they did not say anything. What was unfortunate for He Xinjiu was that they did not find any traces of Emperor Wen Wu and Princess Xiyu even after searching a few times. They did not know if the two had taken advantage of the chaos to escape or if there was another secret passage in the palace. What followed was naturally the battle for the throne. Although the crown prince had escaped and the fifth prince had died, there were still the second, third, and fourth princes. Naturally, they were all eyeing the throne covetously. Yun Chujio had people gather the three princes and all the civil and military officials in the throne room. Old Duke Yun Jichen, and the others were naturally among them. The three princes looked at each other with hostility. Although they knew that this throne would be a puppet of the Yun mansion, it would still be the throne of the 9/5. Yun Jichen thought of Yun Chujio's previous promise and felt a little excited and hesitant. Although he had always wanted to seize the position of King Yun, now that the throne had become the throne, he felt a little uneasy. Why not let his grandfather be the emperor for a few years? He would talk about it in the future. Yun Chujio clapped her hands. More than a dozen Yun family soldiers entered the hall and took control of the three princes without any explanation. Before the three princes had the chance to question Yun Chujio had already carried a large kitchen knife and killed them all. Whether it was the old Duke Yun or the civil and military officials, they were all stunned. Was this Yun Chujio crazy? What was she trying to do? Yun Chujio held the large kitchen knife and asked the civil and military officials of the East Phoenix Kingdom with a smile. Unfortunately, the three princes all died of a sudden illness. Who do you think should sit on the throne? Those officials all felt as if their hearts were baying for blood. Sudden illness? Do you think they are blind? You were clearly the one who killed them all right? They used to think that this divine Phoenix emissary had a kind heart, but now it looked like he was simply a devil. His spirit energy was only at the first level of the spirit illusion realm, but his methods were simply biting people to the bone. Everyone looked at each other. Who would be the emperor? The first person they thought of was naturally old Duke Yun. In terms of seniority and strength, old Duke Yun was the best candidate. The second person they thought of was the third, fourth, and fifth masters of the Yun mansion. These few people were the right age, but they did not know which was more suitable. The third person they thought of was Yun Jichen. Everyone knew that Yun Jichen had played a great role in this matter, and he had the Prince Ping's mansion behind him. But now they had crossed all these candidates. There was only one person left in their hearts, and that was the little devil in front of them. A minister mustered up his courage and said, "Ninth Miss, you are the divine phoenix emissary. It is most suitable for you to sit on the throne." Someone took the lead and someone immediately echoed, "That's right, Ninth Lady. You are the daughter of the god of war and also the divine phoenix emissary. No one is more suitable than you to sit on the throne." Yun Chujio waved her hand. "Although I am the master of the divine phoenix, there are so many people in the Yun family. My grandfather, my third uncle, my fourth uncle, my fifth uncle, and my cousin Jichin are all more suitable than me. Although the divine phoenix does indeed want me to become the emperor of the East Phoenix Kingdom, I am not a person who loves power. Moreover, I am timid. I am not suitable to be the emperor, am I?" The corners of everyone's eyes twitched violently. "You're timid? Is it really good for you to lie through your teeth like this? Moreover, what you said was a complete rejection, alright?" Everyone hurriedly tried to persuade her a few more times. Yun Chujio pretended to reject them a few times and then sighed. "Alright, since you insist on this, I can only reluctantly ascend the throne. Your previous positions are still the same. I will observe and observe first before rewarding and punishing you. My title will be called the country-toppling beauty, the peerless and peerless female emperor, or simply the female emperor of the world. I will announce it to the world immediately and hold the coronation ceremony 3 days later." Everyone was dumbfounded by He Xinjia's series of titles. They thought to themselves, isn't she still attached to power? She even thought of a title and could not wait to call herself emperor. If she doesn't want to be the emperor, who would she lie to? Yun Chujio gave a few more instructions and dismissed the ministers. Only the old duke and the Yun family were left in the throne room. Yun Chujio coughed a few times. Cough, cough. Logically speaking, I shouldn't be the one sitting on the throne, but this is the divine phoenix's idea. There's really nothing I can do about it. But don't worry, my health isn't good. I might die one day. When that time comes, any of you who are willing to sit on the throne can do so." When the members of the Yun family heard Yun Chujio's words, the corners of their eyes twitched. The old duke was indeed not interested in the throne. Otherwise, he wouldn't have given the throne to Yun Chujio's father so early on. As for the Yun family's third, fourth, and fifth sons, they were all people who just muddled along. They were already satisfied with the throne for no reason. They really didn't care much about being the emperor. Yun Jichin wanted to be the emperor, but when he thought about Yun Chujio's methods, he felt that he might not be able to win against her, so he gave up on the idea. In fact, even if Yun Jichin had thoughts, he didn't dare to resist because the tiger talisman of the Yun family army was in Yun Chujio's hands. Seeing that the members of the Yun family were very tactful, Yun Chujio immediately said with a smile, "We are all one family. As the saying goes, we share blessings and hardships together. Everyone, don't worry. From now on, this East Phoenix country will belong to our Yun family." Everyone agreed with a few words and then dispersed. Only the old duke stayed behind. He didn't care if Yun Chujio was the female emperor of Zephyr. He pointed at her nose and asked, "Little Jio, when did you switch out the tiger talisman?" Yun Chujio giggled. "Grandfather, I was afraid that you would be deceived by others. So when I left the Yun family's military base, I secretly changed it." The old duke first glared at her and then let out a long sigh. "I don't care what you want this throne for. Remember, don't do anything outrageous or else my old bones won't listen to you." Yun Chujio nodded solemnly. "Grandfather, don't worry. I only want this throne to find my father and mother. Once I find them, I will give the throne to fifth brother. This lousy throne is really not attractive to me." The old duke was skeptical. He believed Yun Chujio when she said that she wanted to find Yun Fongjin and Yi Lan. However, this fellow said that the throne was not attractive to her. No matter how he looked at it, he did not mean it. After sending off the old prince, the freshly made Empress Jiu valiantly went to the divine hall. The national master gave her quite a bit of face and immediately got someone to let Yun Chujio in. Yun Chujio beamed as she took out some precious spirit herbs and handed them to the national master. "National master, we share honor and disgrace. It's all for the sake of the divine phoenix and the East Phoenix kingdom. Please take care of us in the future." The imperial preceptor smiled as he put the items away. Then he said, "After 3 days, I will look at you in a new light. Your majesty is truly unexpected." Yun Chujia's smile became even more radiant. Imperial Preceptor, this is all thanks to the Divine Phoenix. I'm also very helpless. The corners of the Imperial Preceptor's eyes twitched. If the smile on your face was not so radiant, your words would be more believable. The two of them exchanged a few more pleasantries before Yun Chujio asked, Imperial Tutor, the reason I came this time is firstly to see you. Secondly, I want to ask if you know the reason behind Lung Tianqi's sudden attack and his sudden disappearance? The Imperial Tutor smiled faintly. As the Imperial Tutor, I am only responsible for the Divine Phoenix and the Blood Oath. I will not interfere in other matters, so your Majesty should not ask too much. Yun Chujio pursed her lips in her heart. This old charlatan was really tight-lipped. She did not believe that the Lihen Palace was so powerful. How could they not know about it? However, since the Imperial Tutor did not say anything, it was not appropriate for her to ask any more. After exchanging a few more pleasantries, she left. After Yun Chujio returned to the Imperial Palace, she immediately gave the order to find the whereabouts of Lung Tianqi and Princess Shiyu. She also sent many people to find the whereabouts of Yun Fengjin and Yi Lan. He Xingjiu occupied the huge Imperial Palace all by herself. After a few days of excitement, she felt that it was no longer interesting. She pondered over the recent events and felt that there must be something fishy going on. However, she did not have any leads. She recalled that Xue Wuji said that Di Baiming was seriously injured when he visited the Yun family to find Yi Lan. Now that she thought about it, she felt that there was something fishy going on. Di Baiming's spiritual power should be much higher than the Yun family's. How could he be seriously injured? Yun Chujio wanted to go to the immortal Yuan continent to ask Xue Wuji about it. However, although she was now the female emperor of Fenghua, she was too weak. It was better for her not to go out and show off. This guy cherished his life very much. He picked hundreds of guards with high spiritual power from the Yun family's army and constantly patrolled the palace. This guy felt that it was really inconvenient for the towering sky continent to not have the heart demon oath. Otherwise she would feel much more at ease. This guy had already understood the so-called blood oath. To put it bluntly, the blood oath meant that both parties signed a contract in front of the Imperial Preceptor, with the Lihen Palace as the guarantor. What was the use of this? No one knew what the Lihen Palace was. If the people inside were not good people, the blood oath would be of no use at all. Could only fool ordinary people. In the following period of time, Yun Chujio only eliminated some of Lung Tianqi's followers. She did not make any major changes to the personnel. This fellow knew that she had used a large kitchen knife to force her to take the throne. She made too big a move. It was easy to cause a rebellion. It was better to simmer it down and take it slowly. This fellow knew the importance of public opinion. He asked Meng Yanshou to weave a dream for some of the citizens of An City. Soon, news spread that the female emperor of Fenghua was chosen by the Divine Phoenix. She was the best candidate to adapt to the right time, place and people. At the same time, Meng Yanshou often came to An City to do good deeds. Today he saved a child who was almost trampled by a wildebeest, and tomorrow he saved an old man who was on the verge of death. Empress Jiao's acting skills were online, and her script was reasonable. She quickly won the reputation of an emperor that had never been seen before in the history of the East Phoenix country. Even the old prince felt that although this granddaughter of his had a lot of bad water, she was really the material to become an emperor. Of course, the old prince and the old princess took a long time to digest the fact that the originally kind and silly girl had become a little devil in their eyes. Yun Chujio felt that in her position, she had to do something useful. Therefore this guy worked hard for a few nights and produced a copy of the East Phoenix Kingdom, Year 5 Regulations Plan. Simply put, it was how to put the spirit stones from the South Dragon Kingdom, West Tiger Kingdom, and North Shen Kingdom into the pockets of the East Phoenix Kingdom. Yun Chujio set up a department specifically for Yun Jichen to be the leader. Then she threw the plan at Yun Jichen. Fifth brother, don't say that I mistreated you. The opportunity for you to become rich is here. Yun Jichen saw the words on the cover and the corner of his eyes twitched. What the hell was this? When he saw your dog-like handwriting again, the corner of his eyes twitched even more. However, when he saw the contents, he was immediately shocked. His voice trembled a little. Your Majesty, did you write this? Yun Chujio nodded calmly. Fifth brother, the people are rich and the country is strong. Don't underestimate business. Yun Jichen nodded his head in agreement. Cultivation was originally a matter of burning money. Naturally, the more money the better. Also, Don't get too close to the Prince of Peace's residence. Otherwise, when you ascend the throne in the future, I'm afraid there will be trouble for your relatives. Yun Chujio said. Yun Jichen nodded his head in a daze. He had long given up on the idea of the throne. From what little Jiu meant, was she really going to give up the throne to him in the future? With this understanding, Yun Jichen put in a lot of effort in doing things. Soon, many shops appeared in East Phoenix country like bamboo shoots after a rain. In particular, a restaurant called Qian Duo quickly opened to the other 3 countries, and business was abnormally booming. Needless to say, the behind-the-scenes owner of this restaurant was naturally Hei Xinjiu. On one hand, she was doing it to earn money, and on the other hand, she was doing it to gather information. There was no place more convenient to gather information than a restaurant. Seeing that everything was on the right track, Yun Chujio began to get people to gather books on alchemy and talisman refinement. Then she began to fiddle with alchemy and talisman refinement in the palace. The Imperial Guards were in deep shit. Yun Chujio was afraid that the smell of alchemy would cause unnecessary trouble. Therefore, every time the alchemy was completed, she would deliberately refine a batch of pills. Moreover, there were many medicinal herbs with a strong smell added to it. Hence, every time this fellow finished refining the pills, the entire imperial palace would be filled with a sour and refreshing smell. Hence, very quickly there was a rumor in the 4 nations. The Eastern Phoenix country's female emperor, Fenghua, liked to refine pills very much, but she was a useless pill refiner. Yun Chujio was happy to see this happen. Everyone had their flaws. If she was too perfect, how would others live? Even so, the growing momentum of the East Feng Kingdom still made the other 3 kingdoms wary. They had originally thought that the East Feng Kingdom would suffer a great loss in their national strength after the successive internal conflicts, and they could take the opportunity to divide the territory of the East Feng Kingdom. Later on, they heard that the East Feng Kingdom actually let a little girl become some sort of female emperor of Zephyr. They even despised her to death, thinking that the people of the East Feng Kingdom had most likely lost their minds. Who would have thought that not only did the East Phoenix country not weaken, it even became more and more powerful. At this rate, their 3 countries would be in a passive position. The monarch of the North Mystic Kingdom suggested that rather than being passive, it would be better to take the initiative to attack and formulate some policies to restrict the merchants of the East Phoenix Kingdom. The monarchs of the South Dragon Kingdom and the West Tiger Kingdom felt that what he said made sense and responded one after another. As a result, the 3 kingdoms issued some regulations one after another, all of which were aimed at the merchants of the East Phoenix Kingdom. In a short period of time, the merchants of the East Phoenix Kingdom suffered heavy losses. Yun Jichen found Yun Chujio with a burning fire. Your Majesty, the 3 kingdoms of the Southern Dragon Kingdom are ganging up on our East Phoenix Kingdom. If this continues, the merchants will suffer heavy losses. Who knows what kind of trouble they might cause? The corners of Yun Chujio's mouth curled up. What are you afraid of? They are targeting us, so we won't target them. Are you stupid? The corner of Yun Zichen's mouth twitched. Your Majesty, we are 1 against 3, how can we be their match? Moreover, how can we target them? There aren't many merchants from the other 3 countries in our East Phoenix country. Even if we target them, we will not be able to recover much of our losses. Yun Chujio revealed an unfathomable smile. Isn't this simple? Then let them have no time to target us. He looked at Yun Chujio with a blank expression. Your Majesty, what do you mean by that? If I remember correctly, the Spirit Stone Mine in Pingluo Mountain is located on the border between the Southern Dragon Kingdom and the Western Tiger Kingdom. It's shared between the 2 kingdoms, right? Yun Chujio asked instead of answering. Yun Jichen nodded. That's right. At that time, the 2 kingdoms even fought a war over the ownership of the Spirit Stone Mine. After that, the 2 sides signed a contract and that was the end of it. Arrange for people with high spiritual power to rob the spirit stones extracted from the West Tiger country. First, they pretended to be people from the Southern Dragon country to sow discord between the 2 countries. If they were found out, then they would be led to find out that the mastermind was the North Mystic country. Oh right, send someone to send a letter to the North Mystic country saying that we are friendly neighbors. In the future we will reduce the taxes on the North Mystic country's merchants by half, Yun Chujio said with a smile. Yun Jichen, Your Majesty, is it really good for you to be so sarcastic? If that was the case, it would be a miracle if the South Dragon Kingdom and the West Tiger Kingdom did not suspect that there was something fishy going on between the North Shen Kingdom and their East Phoenix Kingdom. the alliance between the three kingdoms would definitely be loosened. Moreover, if they were lucky, they might even be able to start a war between the South Dragon Kingdom and the West Tiger Kingdom. Yun Chujio continued, in order to prove the crime of the North Shen Kingdom, don't you have some of the privacy of the officials of the South Dragon Kingdom and the West Tiger Kingdom that you have collected? Choose some explosive ones and spread them out. Then, mix in some rumors about the princes of the two kingdoms and make them fight among themselves. Also, help the South Dragon Kingdom and the West Tiger Kingdom dig out a few spies of the North Mystic Kingdom in those two kingdoms and do it cleanly and beautifully. Yun Jichen looked at Yun Chujio with a dumbfounded face. Damn it. Fortunately, he was wise and did not fight with her for the throne. Just this man's bad water could torture him to death thousands of times. Yun Jichen immediately arranged for people to follow He Xinjia's instructions. It did not take long before he heard that the Southern Dragon Kingdom and the Western Tiger Kingdom had a huge falling out. The Northern Shen Kingdom had sent an envoy to mediate, and it was immediately discovered that the mastermind was the Northern Shen Kingdom. The Northern Shen Kingdom had yet to explain clearly about the matter of snatching the Spirit Stone mine, and the Southern Dragon Kingdom and the Western Tiger Kingdom had caught a few spies from the Northern Shen Kingdom within their respective countries. The most infuriating thing was that the South Dragon Kingdom and the West Tiger Kingdom had even heard that the East Phoenix Kingdom had given the North Mystic Kingdom a certain preferential policy. It turned out that the East Phoenix Kingdom and the North Mystic Kingdom were actually one and the same. Were they treating the two countries as fools? The Southern Dragon Kingdom and the Western Tiger Kingdom naturally would not swallow their anger. First, they sent a fierce letter to the Bei-Shen Kingdom, which was translated into plain English. You actually joined forces with the East Phoenix Kingdom to scam us. You're really shameless. Following that, the Southern Dragon Kingdom and the Western Tiger Kingdom began to punish the merchants of the Bei-Shen Kingdom. They even discussed joining forces to take care of the Bei-Shen Kingdom, making the Bei-Shen Kingdom pay the price in blood. Emperor Beijing of the North Mystic Kingdom was instantly paralyzed. It was supposed to be 3 against 1, but why did it turn into a rebellion? He was wronged. He was almost wronged to death. He did not send anyone to snatch any bullshit spiritual stone mines. He did not spread any gossip, but the spy was sent by him. It was hard to argue with him. What should they do now? If the Southern Dragon Kingdom and the West Tiger Kingdom really went all out, how could the North Mystic Kingdom be a match for the two kingdoms? Wouldn't they just sit back and wait for their kingdoms to be destroyed? Thus, a minister suggested, Your Majesty, the Eastern Kingdom has already expressed its goodwill to our kingdom. Why don't we join forces with the East Phoenix Kingdom? This way we will be evenly matched. The Southern Dragon Kingdom and the West Tiger Kingdom won't be able to do anything to us. Emperor Beijing pondered for a moment. There was only one way now. Then he eagerly sent an envoy to Empress Jiao to deliver the letter. The gist of it was that our North Shen Kingdom had been fooled by those two bastards previously. Now that we have seen their true colors, let's be good friends. Yun Chujio passed the letter to all the ministers of Bei-Shen Kingdom. Most of them did not know what Empress Jiao had done. They thought that the Bei-Shen Kingdom had learned from their mistakes and had a conscience. Only Yun Jichen and a few others felt a surge of admiration for Empress Jiao. What kind of mind was this? Not only did they manage to break the three kingdoms' blockade on the East Phoenix Kingdom, but they also managed to pull the Bei-Shen Kingdom to their side. Yun Jichen lit a candle for the other three kingdoms. He felt that if this continued, the three kingdoms would sooner or later be destroyed by the female emperor. In the following period of time, the East Phoenix Kingdom and the Bei-Shen Kingdom had a close relationship. Moreover, the East Phoenix Kingdom was quite generous. Seeing that the Bei-Shen Kingdom had very few cold spiritual fruits, they not only gave Emperor Beijing a lot of spiritual fruits, they even specially stated that the spirit fruits they sold to the Bei-Shen Kingdom in the future would be sold at a 20% discount. Emperor Beijing was so moved that tears welled up in his eyes. This Empress Fenghua was the most reliable. She was much better than those two bastards. How could Emperor Beijing know that the reason why Empress Jiao did this was because the other two kingdoms did not lack spirit fruits at all? The Dongfeng Kingdom's spirit fruits were mainly sold to the Bei-Shen Kingdom. When the Southern Dragon Kingdom and the West Tiger Kingdom saw this, they were even more certain that everything that had happened before was done by the North Shen Kingdom. They hated the North Shen Kingdom to the core. At this moment, the Southern Dragon Kingdom caught a few spies. They were actually from the West Tiger Kingdom. What made Emperor Nanshen the most angry was that one of the spies was an old lover of one of his concubines. Emperor Nanshan was so angry that he spat out a mouthful of blood. When he woke up, he first killed that concubine and then sent troops to attack the West Tiger Kingdom. The West Tiger Kingdom was also furious. You can't control your own woman, so why are you blaming the West Tiger Kingdom? Moreover, they also caught several spies of the South Dragon Kingdom. When a crow falls on a pig, no one can blame anyone. Therefore, the two countries completely fell out with each other and had a conflict at the border. Although the scale was not large, they did not have the time to find trouble with the East Phoenix Kingdom for the time being. Later on, there was a record in the history books of the Towering Sky Empire. In the first year of the reign of the female emperor, the empress was far away and in city. Just based on the information gathered in the restaurant, the South Dragon Country, West Tiger Country, and North Shen Country were thrown into chaos. It could be said that in the midst of strategizing, victory was decided from 1,000 miles away. With the crisis resolved, Empress Jiao began to live a carefree life again. This fellow felt that her desire for money had finally weakened a lot, because this fellow was really too rich now. She didn't even know how much money she had. She had almost refined the lightning spirit energy in her body, so she could only wait to be struck by lightning. Thus she began to wander around. The first place she went to was naturally the several manors of the Yun family. Empress Jiao conferred the thrones of her third uncle, fourth uncle, and fifth uncle. The names were also very easy to remember. King Yun Shan, King Yun Si, King Yun Wu, and the position of King Yun was vacant. This fellow was prepared to leave it to her father. She had always believed that her father was still alive. Sooner or later, the three of them would be reunited. The three sons of the Yun family were better off. After all, the He family had always been on good terms with Yun Chuzhou. The fourth and fifth sons of the Yun family were in an awkward situation, especially the Liao family. They were afraid that Yun Chuzhou would look for trouble, so they were so eager to please her that they almost called her their ancestors. Empress Jiao decided that when she was in a bad mood in the future, she would come to the fourth house of the Yun family for a stroll. Seeing the Liao family and Yun Ziluo's expressions, she was really relieved. Time flew by quickly. Yun Chuzhou counted with her fingers. It had been 1.5 years since the pretty boy was frozen. She wondered if the pretty boy's seal had been lifted. If the pretty boy knew that she had become the female emperor of Zephyr, he would definitely be shocked. She was really looking forward to it. In the morning court, Prime Minister Sima reported, "Your Majesty, the grand meeting of the four nations will be held once every 3 years soon. You have to prepare as soon as possible." Yun Chuzhou raised her eyebrows. Grand meeting of the four nations? What is it used for? Prime Minister Sima knew that the female emperor of Zephyr was from the immortal Yuan continent, so he patiently explained. The gist of it was that the four nations would hold a grand meeting of the four nations every 3 years. Although it was said to be a grand meeting, it was actually a competition. This was also a competition between the four nations. The content of the competition was nothing more than alchemy, talisman making, weapon refining, array formation, beast taming, and spiritual power. Finally, the rankings would be compiled. Yun Chuzhou nodded and then asked curiously, "How are the results of our East Phoenix country in the past years?" Prime Minister Sima's face was somewhat stiff as he said, that our East Phoenix country has always been the first in friendship, and the second in competition. Calm speak human language. Cough cough. When retired emperor was around, our East Phoenix kingdom could still obtain third place. After retired emperor went missing, our East Phoenix kingdom would usually always be in fourth place. Yun Chuzhou, fourth place? Couldn't he just say that he was in last place? Retired emperor was naturally referring to Yun Fengjin. Due to Yun Fengjin's terrifying spiritual power, the East Phoenix kingdom could win back a city in the spiritual power competition. However, the other competitions were utterly miserable. The South Dragon Kingdom was good at making talismans and arrays, the West Wu Kingdom was good at refining weapons, and the North Shen Kingdom was good at beast taming. Originally, the East Phoenix Kingdom was good at refining pills. However, for some unknown reason, the rumor spread and stopped spreading. It had been hundreds of years since there had been a particularly powerful alchemist, so it was inevitable that they would end up in last place. Prime Minister Sima and the other ministers stole a glance at Empress Jiao's expression. They originally thought that after she heard it, she would either be worried or embarrassed. However, why did she have an indifferent expression on her face? There's nothing bad about being fourth. After all, it's still within the top 5, isn't it? Alright, you guys prepare as you should. I don't care about these illusory things. As long as we have money and combat strength, it's fine. If anyone dares to make fun of our East Phoenix Kingdom, I will make them regret being born in this world. Hei Shinjio leaned back on the dragon chair. Her expression was indifferent, but the coldness in her words did not diminish in the slightest. The civil and military officials were all dumbfounded. Your Majesty, is it really good for you to be so arrogant? Why did it feel like their female emperor was more like a bandit leader than an emperor? Yun Chujia's eyes suddenly lit up. She said, "Oh right, Prime Minister Sima, this is after all my first time appearing in front of the other three kingdoms. I must make it a little more grand. Make it as dazzling as possible for me. Anyway, our national treasury has plenty of spirit stones, so don't be afraid of spending money. Do you hear me?" What else could Prime Minister Sima say? He naturally nodded in agreement. His heart was pounding. Make it as dazzling as possible? What did he mean by this? Fortunately, Prime Minister Sima did not understand and asked. In the next few days he would often meet Empress Jio to seek her opinion. Every time he came out, his expression was very interesting. Would this work? Their Empress aesthetic standards were really different from others. A month later in the Bloodstream Valley. The geographical location of the Bloodstream Valley was very special. It happened to be located in the center of the four countries and belonged to a place that the four countries did not care about. That was why the four countries' grand meeting had chosen this place as the venue. This way they were not afraid of any country playing any tricks. This year, it happened to be the South Dragon Kingdom's turn to host the four kingdoms' grand meeting. Therefore, the people of the South Dragon Kingdom had entered the Bloodstream Valley in advance and had already set up the competition stage and grandstand. The merchants of the East Phoenix Kingdom had been hinted by their Empress Jio, and they all eagerly occupied the advantageous positions. There were all kinds of snack stalls, equipment stalls, elixir stalls, and so on. The Four Kingdoms Grand Meeting would be held for at least 3 days, and the people of the Four Kingdoms swarmed over. This was a great opportunity to make money. Emperor Nanxian was the first to arrive at the venue. When he saw those popular stalls, he thought that they were merchants of the South Dragon Kingdom, and he could not help but feel very satisfied. Who said that the people of the South Dragon Kingdom were not as good at doing business as the people of the East Feng Kingdom? Wasn't this quite clever? However, he soon knew that the stalls that occupied the advantageous positions were all from the East Phoenix Kingdom. The stalls of the Southern Dragon Kingdom were all in the corners. Moreover, because the goods were not attractive, almost no one patronized them. Emperor Nanxian snorted coldly. The East Phoenix Kingdom could only engage in some opportunistic business. This time, at the grand meeting of the Four Kingdoms, he would let that so-called female emperor know her capabilities. Don't think that the East Phoenix Kingdom was really amazing. A fourth-ranked country still had the nerve to show off. Emperor Nanxian consoled himself for a while before sitting down in the VIP area. Soon, Emperor Beijing of the Beixian Kingdom and Emperor Shiwen of the Shiwu Kingdom also arrived with their teams. Although the relationship between the three countries was difficult to explain in a word, it was still passable on the surface. They greeted each other and took their seats. They couldn't just sit there and do nothing, so they started chatting casually. Perhaps it was because there had been a lot of troubles in the country recently, so the three of them had a feeling that they shared the same fate. When they saw those merchants from East Phoenix country who had earned a lot of money, the three of them felt a little resentful of the rich. They all had the same thought in their hearts. This time, the Four Nations Grand Meeting would definitely firmly place East Phoenix country in fourth place. It was to prevent East Phoenix country from truly becoming the sole power. Because of the temporary benefits, the smiles on the faces of the three emperors became much more sincere. They temporarily threw all the previous unhappiness to the back of their minds. After chatting for a while, Emperor Shiwen said in puzzlement, "It's almost time. Why hasn't the Eastern Phoenix country's female emperor arrived yet?" Emperor Nanxian pursed his lips. No matter what, she's still a little girl. Naturally, she's a little thin-skinned. She came in fourth. I guess she's a little scared. Emperor Beijing echoed, "You're right. Ever since Yun Fengjin went missing, the East Phoenix Kingdom has always been in fourth place. Moreover, her points are pitifully low. Naturally, she doesn't want to come and embarrass herself." Emperor Shiwen laughed. "She has to come even if she doesn't want to. After all, she is the emperor of the East Phoenix Kingdom. This little girl is good at doing business, but running a country is not like doing business. This time let's show her what she is capable of. While the three of them were mocking each other, they heard the sound of drums in the distance. The drumbeats were so excited that the surrounding crowd couldn't help but make way for them. The three of them looked up and saw several flags fluttering in the wind. On each flag, there were large golden words: Female Emperor of Zephyr's beauty is unparalleled in the world. Female Emperor of Zephyr's beauty is like a fish in water, like a swan in the lake, like a swan in the moon, like a flower in shame. Female Emperor of Zephyr's beauty is invincible. Regardless of whether it was the three emperors or the surrounding crowd, only three words flashed through their minds: shameless. This Empress Fenghua was too shameless. Was it really good to brag so much? The faces of the people of the East Feng Kingdom were also a little stiff. Your Majesty, can we not be so smug? This seemed to be a little too much, right? Very soon, everyone knew that there was no such thing as the most excessive, only more excessive. The soldiers holding the flag stood on both sides and separated the crowd. Only then did the crowd realize that there was an extremely luxurious sedan chair behind the soldiers. Emperor Nanxian looked at the beaded curtain hanging down in front of the palanquin and could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. Wasn't this the shimmering muscle pearl? In the world, one could only buy one pearl for 100,000 high-grade spirit stones. This little girl actually used it to make a beaded curtain? Not to mention other things, this beaded curtain was worth over 100 million. What a waste. At this time, a palace maid came forward and spread the pure white ground-shaking snow cashmere all the way to the VIP area. Emperor Nanxian and the other two were dumbstruck. Although this ground-shaking snow cashmere was not as precious as the shimmering clam pearl, it should at least cost millions of high-grade spirit stones, right? Just like that? That little girl's feet were that precious? Just as the three of them were cursing in their hearts, they saw the guards and palace maids kneeling on the ground with a plop. They shouted loudly, "Welcome, Your Majesty. Your Majesty's country-toppling and city-toppling magnificence is unparalleled in the world." The unanimous shouts shocked everyone. Some merchants and onlookers of the East Phoenix Kingdom could not help but kneel on the ground. Even if they did not want to kneel, under the influence of this atmosphere, their legs could not help but feel a little weak. They had an impulse to submit and worship. Not to mention the subjects of the East Phoenix Kingdom, even the subjects of the other three kingdoms also kneeled on the ground in confusion. It seemed that under this situation, it was a great act of treason to stand. Emperor Nanxian and the other two saw that nearly half of the people had knelt down, and they were so angry that they were twitching. Even if they used their toes to think, it was impossible for all of them to be from the East Feng Kingdom. There must be people from the three kingdoms. Were these people crazy? They actually knelt down to worship that last from the East Feng Kingdom. It was really infuriating. While the three of them were angry, they looked at the palanquin. They wanted to see just what kind of virtue the female Emperor of Zephyr had to actually make so many people submit to her. A palace maid first opened the beaded curtain and then lifted a layer of gauze curtain. Empress Jiao, who was dressed in red, stepped down from the palanquin. Everyone's gaze was focused on Yun Chujiao, who was dressed in red. The woman was extremely beautiful, but as she stood there, everything seemed to pale in comparison. She was dressed in red and she had a peerless aura. The woman's clear voice carried a hint of laziness. "All of you get up." The crowd was probably stunned by the aura around the woman, but no one got up. They just knelt and watched as the woman walked step by step towards the VIP area. The lattice bearing was indescribably reserved and noble. It was a natural nobility that made people feel ashamed of their inferiority. Yun Chujiao slowly walked to the VIP area and looked at the dumbstruck Emperor Nanxian and the other two. Emperor Nanxian and the other two subconsciously stood up. Empress Jiao smiled faintly and said, "The three of you are too polite. Have a seat." Only then did Emperor Nanxian and the other two men come to their senses. What the hell was wrong with them just now? Why did they stand up? Now it seemed that they were inferior to others. They were already so old, but they were actually suppressed by the imposing manner of a little girl. It was really embarrassing. Emperor Nanxian said dryly, "We are guests from afar. This time our South Dragon Kingdom is hosting the Four Kingdoms Grand Meeting. It's only right to be polite." Emperor Shiwen and Emperor Beijing were furious. "You actually found a good excuse." What did they say? Could it be that they couldn't help but stand up as they watched? The two of them sat down embarrassedly. They had a strong feeling in their hearts. This little girl must be deliberately giving them a show of strength. What wishful thinking. This was just spending money to gain face. Let's meet on the competition stage. After Empress Jiao sat down, she saw that there were still many kneeling people below. The corners of her lips curled up slightly. Everyone please rise. Everyone don't worry. This Four Nations Grand Meeting will definitely be a grand meeting of unity. A wonderful grand meeting. It will definitely make everyone's trip worthwhile. As soon as Yun Chujio finished speaking, some people started clapping. With someone taking the lead, the rest naturally clapped as well. For a moment, the applause was thunderous. During the applause, there were also some people shouting fervently, "Female Emperor of Zephyr, unparalleled in the world. Female Emperor of Zephyr, unparalleled in martial arts. Female Emperor of Zephyr, devastatingly beautiful." Emperor Nanshan was so angry. The words that the little girl said were originally his lines, okay? Their South Dragon Kingdom was the host country of this four-nation grand meeting, okay? How could you be so shameless? Before Emperor Nanshan could catch his breath, he saw Yun Chujio wave her hand to signal for everyone to be quiet. Then she said, "Your Majesty Nanshan, we can begin now." Emperor Nanshan was so angry that he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. In this way, wouldn't it make people feel that he had to listen to this little girl? But what could he do? Could it be that he publicly accused Yun Chujio of stealing his lines? Emperor Nanshan took a deep breath and said, "As everyone knows, the ranking of the East Feng Kingdom is always lower. I wonder what ranking Your Majesty Fenghua is planning to get this time?" Empress Jiao smiled brightly. Ranking is not important. The important thing is to participate. Our East Feng Kingdom has always adhered to the principle of friendship first and competition second. A chance for the people of the four countries to get to know each other is more important than anything else. Emperor Nanshan was almost angered by her words. This girl was really sharp-tongued. Now that she had said it, it made him seem petty. However, Emperor Nanshan was after all the ruler of a kingdom, so he was naturally not easy to get along with. He said with a fake smile, "Your Majesty Fenghua, although that's the case, what we cultivators strive for is a sense of sharpness. This is Your Majesty Fenghua's first time participating in the grand meeting of the four nations. I hope that the results of the East Phoenix country will not be too ugly." You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.